He didn't fall for her, he fell for her voice.
Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Fell in Love with the Singing of Jirou Kyoka movie. Before we start, please go support Brian 120,980 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Deku is a male. Small revelations. It was a warm day, the birds were singing happily and there was a refreshing breeze in the air. The UA girls had gathered at an ice cream shop near the school for aspiring heroes, as the school had given them days off to rest, and the girls, for their part, used them to cool off and hang out. "Momo, this place is great, Mina. Thank you for bringing us," said the vice president with a smile, showing her happiness before taking a sip of her drink. "Mina, you're welcome. I told you this place was great. Tsuyu, it's nice to be away from the boys for a day, Kiro." "Jirou, you said it. Uraraka, come ONGIRLS, don't tell me you don't miss any of the boys." "Toru, don't tell us you wanted to be with Midoriya." That's what the invisible young woman asked as she mockingly approached her friend. "Uraraka, W what? Don't say that, no, it's not what you think." "Mina, please Achikachan, we all know you like Midoriya." "Jirou, you stare at him when we're in class and when we're training in the beta zones." "Uraraka, I just admire him, that's all, really." The brunette excused herself as her face began to turn reddish from her friend's accusations. "Tsuyu, he's even stuttering like him now, Kiro." "Momo, why don't you ask him out? You two would look so adorable together." "Mina, you know, I think I've asked you before, but..." "Jirou, and here we go again." "Mina, what?" "Jirou, whenever we start talking about Uraraka and Midoriya, you always say we should invite our secret crushes." "Mina, come on, don't tell me you really don't like Kaminari, even if..." "Jirou, that offends me greatly, why would I want to be with that idiot?" "Toru, but doesn't Kyokasen make you laugh?" "Jirou, just because he makes me laugh doesn't mean I like him or anything like that, I just think it's only a small part of what he actually deserves." "Momo, you're evil, aren't you, Kyokasen?" the vice president asked with a look that understood her friend's point of view. "Jirou, yep, that's right. I'll answer happily," the purple-haired girl replied as she took a sip of her milkshake. The girls continued enjoying their day by going to the park near the ice cream shop where they were and proceeded to lie down for a while, looking up at the sky and playing with a frisbee. "Momo, this is nice." "Uraraka, yes." They said Momo was lying down with Uraraka on the grass while Kyoka was calmly listening to music. Tsuyu, Toru, and Mina, meanwhile, were running while throwing the disc to each other. The girls were still enjoying their day when the pink-haired girl. "Mina, I've got it, ah." The girl, without noticing, had tripped over a rock large enough to knock her over, but luckily for her, she was caught by someone she didn't expect to find in that park. "Mine am I Diorayasayans. Midoriya ha hello minasan." "Mina, my hero," she said in a tender tone, causing all the normalcy the green-haired boy had to vanish when she hugged his face, turning him into a tomato in a matter of seconds. "Tsuyu, Midoriya-san, I didn't expect to see you here." "Toru, yeah, it's weird to see you take a different route." "Mina, girls, look who's here." The rest of the girls except for Jirou turned around and saw the green-haired boy happily greeting them. "Momo, Midoriya-kun, what a pleasant surprise." "Uraraka, Deku-kun, hello." "Midoriya, hey girls, I didn't expect to see you here, enjoying the park." The girls noticed how Kyoka continued with a cheerful smile, listening to music without knowing what was happening around her. "Momo, Kyoka." The green-haired man placed his hand on the raven-haired woman's shoulder and with one finger signaled her to be quiet. Very carefully, so as not to attract her attention, he positioned himself in front of her head, leaving half a meter of separation between their heads. "Midoriya, she looks so cute." The girl seemed to have fallen asleep, as her smile vanished for a moment and she looked very calm, too calm for someone who had only closed her eyes. The boy was no longer sure whether to wake her up or let her sleep. Mina didn't miss the opportunity and took a photograph of the boys in that scene they were witnessing. "Mina, she'll die of embarrassment when she wakes up, hehe." In the end, there was no need to wake Kyoka, because as soon as her song finished playing, she slowly opened her eyes and found a face before her. If she didn't know who it was, she would have thought it was an angel, but she knew him. It was Midoriya. "Midoriya, good morning, sleeping beauty." The girl quickly processed what this sleeping beauty had said. Was he making fun of her? It took her a few seconds to remember she had fallen asleep and he saw her. The purple-haired girl tried to hide the situation. She didn't want to encourage Mina to go and meet boys, so she did her best. "Jirou, hello Midoriya-san, what a surprise, how long have I been asleep?" "Midoriya, I don't think so, I just saw them, but I don't think that much." Jirou felt relieved. She didn't want to think that the boy had seen her make a silly face or something more embarrassing like watching her fall asleep. "Midoriya, and what were you listening to?" "Jirou, Oh, I was just listening to Ghost, she said now somewhat more calmly. Midoriya, may I? The green-haired boy asked with interest, pointing to one of the headphones the girl was wearing. Jirou, oh sure, here you go. The girl gave the earpiece to the boy, who then knelt down, bringing him closer to her. The boy focused all his attention on the lyrics, having to close his eyes to concentrate. The girl, meanwhile, remained lying on the grass with her eyes wide open, her gaze directed towards the sky, but the green-haired boy's face kept blocking her view. Instead of being annoyed or thinking he was a nuisance, she realized that the boy wasn't ugly at all. Even his face, so focused as he stuttered the song, seemed adorable to her, and the rays of sunlight peeking through his hair made him look just as everyone recognized him. A handsome young man who wouldn't hurt a fly, of course, no one who didn't deserve it, the girl thought. As she analyzed her thoughts, her face began to turn from pink to reddish, and the boy's voice, barely audible as he recited the song, didn't help her. As the song ended, young Midoriya opened his eyes, noticing how the purple-haired girl's eyes were fixed on him, along with a reddish hue to her face. Midoriya, is everything alright, Kyoka-san? Kyoka, I mean yes, everything is alright. The girl stood up quickly, leaving everyone present wondering if it was true. Momo, are you sure your face is all red? The raven-haired girl said as she placed her hand on the purple-haired girl's forehead only to quickly remove it. Momo, ow, you're burning up, you should drink something to cool down and you shouldn't be in direct sunlight either. Jirou, yes, of course I'll do it. The girl couldn't believe it anymore. She had been embarrassed not once but twice in one day. These things never happened to her, so why now? The group continued chatting for a while when something caught the green-haired boy's attention. Midoriya, oh, it's the boys, they're asking if I want to go to the movies with them. Mina, oh, tell them we're coming too. Midoriya, are you sure? I saw you were having a quiet day. Momo, well, actually. Mina, yes, you tell them we're going. The girls only released a drop of sweat at their pink-haired friend's quick response on behalf of all of them, and the boy simply obeyed. Midoriya, if I sign up, I'm with the girls, they say they're coming with us too. Kaminari, light skin tone. Mine to thumbs light. Lita, be on time. Kirishima, bro, there are still 5 minutes or more of ads to go. It doesn't matter if we're a little late. Bakugo, what the hell? Why do you have my number here, extras? Midoriya, hello, Kaken, waving lights. Bakugo, Geo to hell, nerd, sa China. Kirishima, okay, see you there. Sato, I'll bring sweets. Lita, SATO, IT's against the rules to secretly bring SWETS to the cinema. Ajiro, sure brother, Lidessen, what kind of sweets would you like? Lita, some caramel popcorn please, but I'm still offended by you. Mina, I want sugar, lots of sugar. Midoriya, Ashidasan, how did you join the group? Mina, SHHH, be quiet, be quiet. Midoriya, well, see you there. Guys, call lights. Midoriya and the girls walked to the shopping mall where there was a branch of movie theaters, and there they found the group of boys confirmed by most of Class A. Uraraka, hi guys. The brunette shouted happily. Guys, hi. Some started talking about how their day off had gone, while others just remained silent, waiting to find out what movie they were going to see. Lita, very well, it's time to choose which movie we'll watch. Mina/Toru/Kaminari/Kirishima/Ajiro, comedy, some grimaced at their colleague's suggestion. Kirishima/Takayami/Dark Shadow/Sato/Lita, mystery. Some repeated their grimace and it was noticeable because of this. Midoriya/Uraraka/Tsuyu/Toru, fantasy. Some made a new one wondering if it was a good option. Momo, maybe romance. The girls, for their part, had smiles on their faces, but the boys, their reaction was more one of instant denial, shaking their heads rapidly from left to right. Well, except for Midoriya, he wouldn't suggest romance as a first option, but it wasn't like he was completely against it either, since his mother had instilled in him a taste for foreign romance novels from childhood, and he developed a certain fondness for the genre. Kirishima, Midabro, do you like romance? Midoriya, WL, it's a habit, my. Kirishima, I think that's a manly thing, I think. Bakugo, I knew you were a wimps. Due to a lack of opinions, some had to make a decision and choose the film genre they wanted, and they succeeded. Lita, okay, the girls will go see a romance and the rest of us will go see an action comedy detective movie. Momo, does a movie like that really exist? Kaminari, if he looks. And if there really is something like that. The group split up and headed to their respective rooms when a group of hands grabbed Midoriya by his clothes and limbs. The boy turned around and saw that the girls had him restrained. Midoriya, CH. Momo, you're coming with us, Midoriya. Midoriya, why exactly? Mina, not all boys like watching romantic movies and you're coming with us to watch one. Toru, and we don't take no for an answer. Uraraka, come Deku-kun, it will be fun. The young man, accepting his defeat, gave in to the girl's request, but one of them, more than liking the movie they had chosen, knew it was merely an excuse for the brunette to get closer to the green-haired boy. Once in the room, they arranged themselves strategically so that the brunette was to one side of him. Momo, Kyoka-san, we need you to be on the other side of Midoriya-kun. Jirou, what? Why Mina? Look, we chose the middle seats. Suyuchin will be on the side with the stairs, followed by me, you, Midoriya, Achikachin, Mamasan, and Torichin. Toru, if Midoriya wants to leave, he'll have to wait until the show is over to avoid disturbing anyone. Jirou, and how do you know it won't move? The girls turned to look at Midoriya, who was awkwardly asking the girl working at the snack bar for some popcorn. Jirou/Momo/Mina/Toru, yes, it's not going to move. Once in the theater for their movie, the girls and the boy noticed that there weren't many people in the theater besides a few other couples. Momo, wow, it looks like there are some people here. Tsuyu, I thought I was going to see less Kiro. Mina, I'm here, shhhhhhh. Toru, minacchen, I was going to say that me too. SSSSSHHHHHHHHH. The embarrassed group found their seats and settled into their plan. Uraraka ready for the Deku-kun movie. Midoriya, yais, it will be interesting. The boy looked around at the other people at the performance, noticing that they were couples who were noticeably lost in their private moment together. Midoriya turned to his other side, noticing that Jirou was noticeably bored, waiting for the movie to start. Midoriya, are you alright, Jirou-san? Jirou, yes, it's just that I've never seen these kinds of movies before, I find them a bit cloying. Midoriya, heh, well, there's a first time for everything, right? Jirou, yes, I suppose so. The boys proceeded to watch the movie, which was about a couple who at first glance had nothing in common except for their shared taste in music. Little by little, they realized they could share more things in common and become closer to each other. At one point, the green-haired man felt the brunette begin to fall asleep until she ended up leaning back in her seat. Midoriya, heh, I didn't expect that. The movie continued, reaching a part that the green-haired boy actually liked. As both protagonists arrived at a concert where the music was quite good, even winning over the purple-haired girl, who began to close her eyes and let herself be carried away by the lyrics and rhythm of the song. Shonen Midoriya saw the girl and how calm she was, and she began to form a smile. It was so genuine that he could tell the difference between a fake smile and a real one from her. Meanwhile, the sarcastic girl, along with an invisible young woman and a little frog, were interested in how the young companion's date was going. When they turned around and looked at them, they noticed that the brunette was asleep, leaning against the vice president's shoulder, who was noticeably disappointed by the plan. Momo, we never saw this coming, she thought to herself. All the others were in the same place as their friend, but they couldn't help but notice that the one leaning against Midoriya was their rocker classmate, who was noticeably comfortable next to him as the boy murmured the song. Inside Jirou's head, everything was confusing. She felt calm. It was pleasant. She didn't feel it was just because of the comfort of the seats in the room, but also she was a little nervous. Many things caused her to get nervous, but not to the point that she wanted to turn red as a tomato or wish the earth would swallow her up. Everything was overwhelming for her. Now all she wanted to do was sleep. She didn't know when she fell asleep, but she felt very comfortable at that moment. As the girl settled in more comfortably, she intertwined her arms with the arm of the young man who was closest to her. The boy, noticing this, didn't know what to do. He was a bundle of nerves and mortified. The girl had initially let her head fall unconscious onto his shoulder, which he could easily ignore, but when she began to move as if she were in her bed, getting closer and closer to him, he hesitated about whether to wake her or not. But when she took his arm and began to hug it as if it were a pillow, he felt he couldn't move. The girls couldn't believe their eyes. The plan did seem to have worked, but not in the way they wanted or with the person they wanted. The boy didn't know whether to ask for help or leave her like that. He felt he didn't have the words to say it himself, but he also didn't want to wake his tired friend just to tell her to move. In the end, the boy decided to leave her as she was, and after a while sleep began to overcome him as well, nodding off and waking up repeatedly, until he reached a point where he closed his eyes and fell asleep on his companion's head. The girl, feeling a little warm, smiled unconsciously, and the boy did the same. Within the OFA. Nana, oh boy, I honestly thought you'd be with your friend Achikachin. Midoriya, huh, what are you talking about, Nana-san? Daigoro, come on kid, you're a college student, two guys at the movies asleep next to each other, you know. Midoriya, no, could you tell me? Yoichi, they look like a couple ninths. Midoriya, what? Nana, come on, you have to admit they look adorable. Midoriya, no, we're just friends, well, I don't even think we could really call it that. We've only talked a few times and… Daigoro, kid, please, it's obvious they look like that. Hickage, if you don't want them to see you like that, you'd better wake up and position yourself so you don't look like you're there. Midoriya, okay. The boy woke up and indeed noticed that it wasn't a joke by his successors, so he set about trying to prevent the purple-haired girl from misunderstanding the situation when she woke up. So he slowly got up when a faint voice from the girl stopped him. Jirou, just a little more, please. The boy didn't know what to do at that moment, whether to comply with his friend's request as she slept on his shoulder or to move her away. He thought about it for a few seconds and then decided to listen to his friend's request. As she rested her head on his shoulder, she adjusted herself until she was comfortable and wrapped her arms around him, thinking he was just a pillow. How comfortable? The boy tried to avoid making any sudden movements, even though he was nervous, because not even Uraraka, who was close to him, had that kind of closeness like the purple-haired girl did now. The boy could only take a deep breath and continue watching the movie as best he could, but it was difficult. In the end, the boy did what he thought he should have done in the beginning, ask for help. Midoriya, PSS, Yaeyorzusen. The boy tried to ask the vice president for help, careful not to wake the brunette who was asleep on his shoulder. Midoriya, Yaeyorzusen. The raven-haired girl finally turned around and saw that the green-haired boy was gesturing for a pillow. It took her a moment to understand, mostly because of her companion's nervousness, but as soon as she did, she created a pillow and handed it to the boy along with a blanket. The boy had to place them carefully so as not to shake his friend. The first thing he did was take the hands that were wrapped around his torso, noticing that they were actually soft. Despite her slender build, she was quite gentle. It seemed like something might break in any accident during her training, but he had seen her before, and she was actually strong. He shook his head slightly to clear those memories. When he managed to separate them, he carefully took her head in his hands, feeling her hair. It was quite straight, and she really took care of it. The boy noticed the girl's face contorted in a grimace at his action, so he took the pillow Yaeyorazu had created and carefully placed her head on it, making sure not to wake her, thus completing his mission. Once finished, he unfolded the blanket his partner had given him and covered her with it in her seat. The boy finally breathed a sigh of relief, relieved by the nerves. It was finally over, or so he thought, for about 10 seconds when he heard the rocker next to him move noisily before grabbing the pillow and placing it back on the boy's shoulder and wrapping him in her arms again along with the blanket. The boy hadn't expected that to happen. With no way to fix it, he just breathed and tried to sleep to avoid embarrassment. The girls smiled at their friend's predicament. Some, like Suyuchin and Torachin, couldn't believe what they were seeing. It was something someone like Mina, with her extroverted personality, would easily do, but Kyoka. That was new. It would be a good reason to remind her of it during the week. When the movie ended and the theater lights came on, the girls went to wake up first their rocker friend and their broccoli friend. Mina, Tsuyu, you can do it. Tsuyu, you know I won't, Kiro. Mina, well, I'll get them up the old-fashioned way. Tsuyu, weight size fine, I'll do it, Kiro. The girl prepared her tongue and shot it in the direction of the boy's forehead, who woke up abruptly from the blow. Midoriya, what's going on? When did it get light? Tsuyu, the movie's over, we have to go, Kiro, the girl said with a slight blush because of what she did. Mina, come on, what's wrong with it? It doesn't count as a kiss, just a normal tap on the back of the head. Midoriya, what? Mina, nothing. Toru, Kyokachin, come on, wake up already. Jirou, 5 more minutes. That's what the girl asked for, then she took the boy's shirt and hid her face in it. The boy could only stare at the ceiling after what had happened, which brought smiles to the faces of those present. Mina, okay, I'll take care of it, she said to the pink-skinned girl, leaning close to the girl's ear and whispering, Kyokachin, do you know you're inside Midoriya-kun's abdomen? The girl had heard that, and when she slowly opened her eyes, she saw that it was true, managing to see her friend's completely red face as he tried to avoid seeing what the girl was doing. Midoriya, hello, Jirousen. The girl quickly turned a similar red color to the boy, and likewise got up from him and settled at the other end of her chair. Jirou, hello, Midoriya-san, I'm sorry, I didn't realize when I fell asleep. Midoriya, nothing's wrong, actually I dozed off a bit too. Meina, a little, you slept through a quarter of the movie, Midoriya. The girls were about to continue laughing when a yawn made them fall silent, noticing that it was the brunette who was waking up. Uraraka, deep yawn, no way, I fell asleep, why me? Midoriya, hello, Uraraka-san. Uraraka, oh hi Deku-kun, damn it, I lost my chance. Momo, come on guys, we have to go get the boys. Group hi. At the exit, the group of students gathered and then all headed to the dormitories. But on the way, 2 young people were having dilemmas within themselves, and they couldn't dare to look, either out of shame or simply because they didn't have the opportunity. Upon arrival, several went to their rooms as soon as they arrived, including the 2 young men. Upon arriving, the green-haired boy changed his clothes, leaving only his boxers and sandals on. He lay down on his bed and began to think about his day, until he remembered what had happened at the cinema. Nana, you're still thinking about yourself, my friend, 9th grade. Midoriya, WL, it's just that nothing like this has ever happened to me before. Daigoro, you have to admit it, kid, you've got some interesting luck. Midoriya, NNO, it was just an accident, that's all. Nana, you should go out with her more, you'd make a cute couple. Midoriya W what, Hickage, okay let him sleep. He has schoolwork tomorrow, if we want him to be better than us he needs to sleep. Midoriya T thank you. The young man shook his head and settled back on his mattress, falling asleep. Quite the opposite was true for the purple-haired girl, who was still mulling over not only what she did at the movies, but also what happened in the park. Why couldn't she forget the green-haired boy's face when she was in the park? Why did she see him as an angel? Just thinking about what had happened caused the girl to have several images of the boy or situations where the two of them were together, to the point that the girl became overheated so much that she felt like her face was burning, and with the need to hit herself to get rid of those thoughts. Get out, she said, slapping herself, managing to banish the thoughts for a few seconds before they gathered again, and a memory came to her. It happened in the park. Good morning, Sleeping Beauty. The girl initially wanted to push him away, but for some reason she didn't, until the answer became more than obvious. Jirou, I think I like Midoriya. The girl kept thinking about that while playing with her connectors, a silly smile starting to form as she thought about it again. She continued like this until she began to fall asleep, but not before openly thinking about it. I think it's not actually that bad. Finally, she fell asleep in the face of that reality with a smile of genuine happiness. Free time together. It was the next day. The sun came in through the window, reaching the eyes of the purple-haired girl who, somewhat annoyed, woke up and saw that it was already daytime. Jirou, damn it, she said somewhat grumpily before getting up. She started the day with morning stretches because the cramps were not something she wanted. After finishing her routine, the girl changed and went to the kitchen for a snack. She was looking at her phone while listening to music, not paying attention to her surroundings when she abruptly bumped into something in front of her. Looking up, she saw that it was the green-haired boy who was leaving his room, apparently to go to the showers, as he was only wearing a towel that covered him from his abdomen down, leaving his upper abdomen and chest exposed. The boy turned around to look at his classmate and was surprised, mostly because he was half-naked. Midoriya, J. Jirousen, I'm sorry I didn't see you. Let me help you, said the green-haired boy sincerely as he helped his friend to her feet. Jirou, Mmidorya, you're naked, the girl said, trying not to speak loudly and wake the others. As soon as he said this, the boy became nervous and went back to his room. Midoriya, I'm sorry, Kayokachin. The girl waved her hands towards her face, trying to calm the pink color that was quickly spreading across her face until she was able to calm down and breathe. Jirou, sorry Midoriya, I didn't see you. Midoriya, don't worry, I shouldn't go around wearing just a towel either. As soon as the girl heard what was said, she felt her face getting hot again and decided it was best to leave her friend before he saw her like that again. Jirou, yes, you're right, okay, I'll let you go, see you later. Midoriya, oh yes, goodbye Kayokachin. The girl left the hallway quickly without waking anyone up and went to get something for breakfast. Upon arriving at the kitchen, I noticed that Lita and Momo were already awake. Lita was organizing some things and Momo was having tea when they realized the presence of the purple-haired girl. Momo, good morning Kayokachin. Lita, Kyoka, it's good to see someone else waking up early here too. Kyoka, hello guys. The class president didn't notice the red color on the girl's face, but the vice president did. Momo, Kayokachin, are you okay? Jirou, oh yeah, it's just that on my way here I bumped into Midoriya and... Momo, did you see him going to the showers? Jirou, how do you know? Momo, yes, it also seemed strange to me to see him going to the showers with just a towel, but you get used to it over time. Jirou, really? Momo, besides between us Midoriya isn't ugly. I don't know if those scars help him, but he's not bad at all, she said with a somewhat imaginative smile. Jirou, Momo. Momo, hey, even I have to admit, Mina isn't the only one who often has those thoughts. The purple-haired girl unconsciously recalled the situation she had been in a few moments ago, remembering what she could of the boy's body, confirming what her friend had said. The boy's body was well-defined, his muscles were strong, but she could still remember what his skin felt like when she slept embraced by him. It was soft. She actually liked that feeling, strong but soft at the same time. The girl began to feel a slight warmth when she had to shake her head and banish those thoughts. Momo, are you okay? Jirou, no, I mean yes, you know what, I'm going to the kitchen for something. Lita, just remember to wash your utensils when you're finished. Jirou, yes. The girl would do anything to get those thoughts out of her head. She would grab her phone and look for the catchiest and loudest song in her repertoire, which usually worked in risky situations she often found herself in. But at this moment, the thoughts wouldn't go away, they remained in her head. She had no choice but to carry on with her day with that in mind. At the beginning of the classes, I didn't know why, but I frequently looked at the boy whenever I had the chance, whether for fractions of a second or for minutes. Aizawa, Kyokasen, could you please tell me what topic we're discussing? The teacher spoke, drawing the attention of the purple-haired girl who became nervous upon hearing this. She had never been called out before, and now she was not only nervous about the question but also about the stares of her classmates. The green-haired boy almost noticed that she had her eyes fixed on him. Jirou, who spoke to you nosy people? Ah, of course. Aizawa, okay, so tell me what the topic is. Jirou, it's about the use of quirks both to the advantage and disadvantage of daily life. Aizawa, well, at least you were paying attention. Don't get distracted again, let's continue with the class. The girl let out a soft sigh when she felt a hand touch her shoulder, making her turn around. Mina, Kyoka-chan, are you alright? You've been acting strange today. Jirou, what do you mean more? No, I'm fine, Ashidasan, really. Suyu, are you sure, Kiro? The purple-haired girl simply shook her head, nodding and returning her attention to the class, but as she made the movement to regroup, she noticed that a certain green-haired boy quickly turned his head forward. The girl raised an eyebrow at the boy's action. Was he watching me? The girl began to doubt it was probably just her imagination. How could she keep secretly watching him? The girl was still thinking that when she saw the boy's hand appear from under her seat, pointing in her direction and giving her a thumbs up for saving herself from Aizawa's wrath. Nobody noticed, but the girl had given a small, happy smile at her friend's attitude. She rarely smiled genuinely. The few she did smile at had a good reason, but what was that reason now? The girl hadn't realized it, but her heart was racing, so much so that it seemed like someone was using her heart like a drum set. And with every second she saw the boy who was trying to maintain a serious expression, ruined by a silly little smile, it only made her heart beat faster and faster. Jirou, how can even a silly smile make me feel this way? What? The class proceeded normally, reaching lunchtime where the girls gathered and ate while chatting about the previous day. Uraraka, it can't be. Momo, yes, we didn't believe it either when it happened. Mina, girl, you should have held on at least a little longer. Uraraka, I don't know why I fell asleep so fast, and to top it all off, I went to the other side. Toru, one chance, one of thousands. Now we must wait for the planets to align again for it to happen again. Uraraka, you said it. Suyu, Kyoka-san was the one who took advantage, Kiro. The girl who was calmly eating her lunch looked nervously at her friend since no one had told the brunette what had happened. Uraraka, what? Jirou, well, Momo, Achikachen, it's just that Jirou-san also fell asleep, but she ended up resting her head on Midoriya-kun's shoulder. The girl just stared in astonishment at her companion who slowly approached with a fixed gaze on her. The purple-haired girl could only swallow hard before she was attacked, but the girl only asked one question. Uraraka, how is Deku-kun feeling? The question was more dangerous. She didn't want to sound so obsessed giving details about what she was thinking, but she couldn't simply tell him that she wouldn't know how to say it, so she had to think it through carefully. Jirou, well, it's actually firm, but it's soft at the same time. Mina, like a pillow. Jirou, I think even softer. The brunette was clearly disappointed in herself, and could only throw her head on the table. Some laughed and others went to buy her mochi to calm her down. After classes ended, the class returned to the dormitories to spend their free time doing activities of their own choosing, but the purple-haired girl preferred to go somewhere else. Mina, Kyoka-chan, do you want to watch a movie with us? Jirou, I'd like to, but I was actually planning to go somewhere else, maybe another time. Mina, well, maybe another time, she said, then lay down on the sofa. The girl used to go to a small establishment where they could play music and sing in private, a kind of karaoke that wasn't recognized as such and very few people knew about it, but those same people were the ones who frequented the place the most. She changed and headed to the place. Meanwhile, Midoriya. The boy had been nervous all day. He couldn't stop looking at the girl even though he knew it could get him into trouble. When he returned to the dorms, the boy wanted to distract himself. He looked for something to eat on his phone app and found a place that sold wings and fries. It also functioned as a small karaoke bar, and the reviews were all good enough to convince him to go out. Upon leaving, he met his friends Mainta and Kaminari. Mainta, Midoriya-san, where are you going? Midoriya, Mainta-kun, Kaminari-kun, I was going out to get something to eat. I saw a review of a place and wanted to try them out. Want to come? Kaminari, not today, dude. We bought some magazines and wanted to look at them. Midoriya, of course, the boy thought sarcastically, well, I'll be back this afternoon, see you. Mainta, goodbye, Midoriya. Kaminari, take care, buddy. The boy was walking along with his headphones on, listening to music. The day was peaceful. He had finished his homework early and had the weekend off, so he was carefree. He continued like this until he reached the establishment. It looked like a cabin. He assumed it must be old, but it was well maintained. Upon entering, he was greeted by two people who were working at the establishment. Good morning, welcome to Wings and Song, would you like anything? Midoriya, oh, I didn't know they sang here. Yes, we have a room service where you can listen to music and sing in private. It has refrigerators with drinks and snacks. Midoriya, wow, that looks great. Would you like to try? Midoriya, I'd like to, but I came for the wings. And it wasn't a bad decision, do you want an order? Midoriya, please. The boy went to a table and began to examine the place. It looked very nice. There were screens showing music, sports, or news. There was no reason to be bored. A short while later, the woman arrived with her orders. Enjoy your meal. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to ask. The boy tried one and his palate thanked him. The food didn't lie in its presentation and the price was outrageous. He ordered another set of wings and continued looking around when a person bumped into him and knocked him out of his head. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. When he turned around, he was surprised because it was his friend Kyoka who was apologizing to him. Midoriya, Jirou, Midoriya-kun, both, what are you doing here? The boys looked extremely nervous because they still felt some embarrassment about what had happened the day before. Midoriya, I was hungry and I saw this place on the internet and you. Jirou, I came here for the karaoke. Midoriya, I see. There was a silence between the two of them. They had only recently started talking or spending much time together, but the idea of not speaking to each other was not something either of them liked. The boy was the one who had to break the silence between them. Midoriya, have you tried the wings at this place yet? The girl, who had been keeping her gaze away from the boy, seemed to light up when the boy spoke to her. Jirou, no, not really, she said while playing with one of her connectors. Midoriya, do you want to try them? He asked, bringing the plate of wings closer. The girl, somewhat embarrassed, took one and tried it. She had the same reaction as the boy. Upon seeing this, the young man could only chuckle a little and bring the plate closer, handing it to her. Midoriya, miss, could you bring me another plate of wings? He said as he raised his hand. Jirou, oh no, sorry, here, they're yours, the girl said as she brought the plate a little closer. Midoriya, don't worry, those are for you and those are for me, okay. The girl just smiled happily and gave in to her friend's request. They talked for an hour and a half about the place, how they discovered it, and about, of course, the wings. Jirou, I can't believe it, it's a sin that they're so cheap. Midoriya, I know, right, Jirou, and about yesterday. The time had come for the girl to apologize for the embarrassment she had caused her friend the day before, and thus, fix what she described as boldness. Midoriya, don't worry, it was kind of embarrassing, but it doesn't bother me actually, he said, while looking away and scratching the back of his neck. The girl could only stare at him. Is he really going to forgive me like nothing happened? Jirou, but Midoriya, to be honest, I found it kind of cute how you were acting like that, not wanting to let go, he chuckled, amused by the memory. The girl's cheeks gradually turned pink as the boy spoke, and her heart raced as she listened to him. She couldn't help but feel what she felt for the boy. The boy kept talking, trying to convince the young woman that there was no problem, when she slowly began to approach him until they were face to face. Midoriya, so don't worry, there weren't any problems. The boy was stopped mid-sentence when something covered his lips, just as Jirou had pressed her lips to those of the green-haired youth. The boy didn't understand what had just happened or what was going on. He had to think about it for a few seconds before he finally realized Kyoka was kissing him. Part of her said she had to withdraw it, but another part enjoyed the feeling so much that she didn't want it to end. The girl moved her head slightly just to adjust herself and continue kissing the boy. She didn't want to stop touching his lips with hers, nor did he. This thighs isn't right. Why did she do it? Is she trying to make it up to me? I have to stop this, but her lips, she might seem reserved to people who don't know her, but really her lips, they're soft. Is this a genuine kiss? Maybe it's because of the wings, but they taste good. It doesn't really bother me. The young couple continued kissing until, unfortunately, lack of air forced them to separate, leaving only a trail of saliva that made clear what they had done. The young people gazed passionately at each other as they rapidly inhaled and exhaled due to the lack of air. Jirou, I'm sorry about the chicken, breathes. Midoriya, don't worry, breathes, it felt good. The girl, who was already flushed from what she had done, turned a deeper color, which the boy noticed. Midoriya, are you okay? Jirou, if it's just that, if it felt good. Midoriya, do you want to do it again? Jirou, doesn't it bother you? Midoriya, if you want, I won't do it. Jirou, no, do it. The boy got up from his seat and approached the girl as closely as he could. Taking her chin, he lifted her face, looking at her intently. In a soft and delicate manner, the boy placed his lips close to the girl's, who grabbed his neck, determined not to let go unless they ran out of air again. The reality was that they were only like that for a few seconds when the girl spoke. Jirou, wait, Izuku, wait. The boy completely ignored her saying his first name and listened to her. Midoriya, what's wrong, Jirou-san? Jirou, well, first you can call me by my name if you want. Midoriya just smiled at how the girl looked away sadly and said tenderly. Midoriya, anything else, Kyoka-chan? Jirou wrapped her arms around the boy's neck and whispered in his ear. Jirou, let's go to the karaoke room. I still have 15 minutes of paid time. No one will interrupt us there. The boy just laughed and taking the girl's hand, they went to the room. The boy was about to open the door when the girl's sweet voice called him. Jirou Kyoka. The boy turned around, and as the door opened, the girl jumped on him, allowing them both to enter the room. The girl had already grabbed the boy by the torso with her feet, and the green-haired boy was holding her by the waist, careful not to exert too much force. Jirou, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Midoriya, I understand, he said, putting on a sympathetic smile. The boy ended up sitting on a sofa in the room, and the purple-haired girl sat on his feet, which she used for support. The young woman moved the screen control closer and placed a song that began to play as soon as the kissing session between the teenagers resumed. Jirou, now where were we? Midoriya, I don't know, can you remind me? The girl gave the young man a mischievous smile, and they resumed their kissing session, which seemed to be getting more and more passionate. As the song continued, the girl would often pull away from the green-haired boy's lips and sing short verses, which the young man loved to hear in her voice. And through gestures, the girl asked the green-haired boy to follow her in the singing, and they were only interrupted when one of them went back to kiss his partner. Jirou, I love your voice. Midoriya, I love you. The young couple kissed again and continued to do so even after the song stopped and another one started. The young couple continued their passionate moment until someone knocked on the bedroom door. Sorry guys, your time is up. If you want to continue, you'll need to rent another hour. Jirou, oh darn it. Midoriya, I think we should continue this another time. Both boys laughed at the sudden interruption before sharing one last kiss and leaving the room. The boys bought some more wings for their friends and set off back to UA together. Upon arriving and opening the door to the Class 1A building, they found that several of their classmates were in the room engaged in various activities. Kaminari, guys, where were you? The young men turned around and saw their friend staring at them with a doubtful look on his face. Midoriya, Kaminari-kun. He was just about to answer when the boy saw something that surprised him. Kaminari, are they holding hands? The young people had been having so much fun that afternoon that they didn't even notice they were holding onto each other the whole way. Jirou. They thought the situation couldn't get any more awkward when a pink-skinned woman noticed their presence in the room. Mina, guys, what's going on here? Our secret. Jirou said. Mina, what happened? Where did they go? Jirou to karaoke. Midoriya, let's go buy food. Mina and they come together. Why? Midoriya/Jirou, okay, we have a problem. Kaminari, and even more so, holding hands. Midoriya/Jirou, well, two problems. Tsuyu, and why did you arrive at this hour? Kiro, Midoriya/Jirou, well, we have a lot of problems. Midoriya, well, the thing is. Jirou, meet on the way back. The boys looked at their friend who had an apparently serious face, but one green-haired boy knew very well that she was lying, and if he wasn't holding her hand, he wouldn't know that she was actually trembling slightly. Mina/Kaminari, what, Jirou? I was coming back from karaoke and there were a lot of people in the streets and Izuku. Mina, wait, did you just call him by his first name? Midoriya, yes, I met her on the way back and we started talking, and we realized we had things in common. And I told her it was okay for her to call me Izuku, said the boy, trying to comfort the girl who was starting to tremble faster. Mina, well, that change was very quick, not even Lita or Uraraka call you that anymore. Midoriya, no more questions please. Yai's weird, isn't it, hehe. The most nervous boy decided it was best to start walking even with his classmates' eyes on him, while the purple-haired girl walked slowly to the kitchen trying to escape the conversation. Lita, Midoriya-san, Jirou-san, it's good to see you. Come in, dinner is ready. After dinner you can go to your rooms. Remember that there are tests tomorrow. The purple-haired girl and the green-haired boy couldn't say no to the class president because they would look even more suspicious if they simply didn't have dinner. Unable to refuse, the young people walked to the kitchen, observing the class president's work, where they found Yaoyorozu quietly reading a book with a cup of tea in front of her. Momo, Kayokachin, Midoriya-chan, they've arrived. Jirou, hello Yaomo. Midoriya, hello Yaoyorozu-san. Momo, you're a little late, where were you? Jirou, I went to relax for a while. Midoriya, I went out to get something to eat. Momo, that explains it. Well, let me serve you some dinner. The raven-haired woman stood up, put down her book, and approached the table where she served the young men 2 plates of breaded pork with egg and some vegetables. Momo, enjoy your meals. Jirou/Midoriya, thank you. The raven-haired girl left the kitchen, leaving only the purple-haired girl and the green-haired boy alone. Midoriya, well, let's eat. Jirou, ah yes, of course. The young people were nervous, even more so because they hadn't thought of any explanation to give their classmates. Jirou, I forgot we lived with them. Midoriya, who had been in a serious tone for a while, let out a small laugh that made him smile. The girl watched him happily, as it seemed he had managed to lighten the mood. Little by little the boy calmed his laughter. Jirou, I like seeing you smile, Izuku-kun. Midoriya, I agree Kyoka-chan, but what should we do? Should we tell them what happened? Jirou, what happened? Midoriya, well about us. The girl just kept eating, avoiding the boy's gaze. Jirou, no, the boy looked doubtfully at the girl who seemed strangely calm. Jirou, I mean we're just friends. Those words were planted so deeply in the boy's head and heart. Not even his years of being beaten up by Bakugo hurt as much as that. Midoriya, but what about what happened between us? Jirou, yes we did it and it was lovely, but we're nothing more than that. The boy was kind of understanding. They weren't a couple, besides, it was just a one-time thing, and he didn't feel he had the courage at that moment to ask the girl out on a date or to ask her to go out with him. Nana boy, they literally stuck their tongues in each other's mouths, but can't you ask her out on a date? What? Hickage, you're a mystery, ninths. Midoriya, WL, I think I misunderstood things. A few seconds of silence fell between the young people, which was then broken by the girl. Jirou, unless you want us to be something more than that. The boy had kept his eyes on his dinner, but upon hearing the words of the purple-haired girl, he looked up, noticing how the girl in front of him was playing with her connectors, looking away. Midoriya, I want to if you want to. Jirou, well I do want to. The girl's cheeks were turning pink with her response. She had never been on a date, much less had a partner, so in her own words, I don't know how these things are done. What? The girl looked at the green-haired boy in front of her and saw that he had a genuine smile, overflowing with happiness as he looked at her too. Midoriya, so Jirou Kyoka, you'd like to go out. The girl quickly lunged at the young man, covering his mouth with one hand. Jirou, silence. He whispered to her. The young man didn't understand what was happening when the girl separated from him while looking at the door. The young man paid attention to it and saw a brunette girl entering accompanied by the young Tsuyu and Toru. Midoriya, hi girls. Uraraka / Tsuyu / Toru. Hello Deku / hello Midoriya-san / Holy. Jirou, girls, what are you doing here? Tsuyu, we saw there were still people in the kitchen and we wanted to see who they were. Kiro. Uraraka, we didn't see them all day, where did they go? Asked Machi with a smile. Midoriya, well I went to a place that sold chicken wings. Jirou, I went to a karaoke bar to relax. As the girl said this, she began to remember her private session with the green-haired boy, causing her blush to return and become slightly noticeable. Toru, Kyoka-chan, are you okay? Your face is red. Jirou, hahaha, yeah, I'm fine. Uraraka, sure. Jirou, yes, really, I think I'll go to sleep now, it's getting late. Tsuyu, that's true, but tomorrow is Saturday. Uraraka, bless Saturday. Jirou, yes, but fake yawn, I'm already falling asleep. Toru, well, see you tomorrow. Uraraka, goodbye Deku-kuns. Midoriya, goodbye Uraraka-san, goodbye Tsuyu-chan. The young people waited until their friends left the room when the green-haired boy spoke up. Midoriya, so you'd like to go out with me? The young man couldn't finish his proposal when the purple-haired girl in front of him calmly approached and sat on his lap, placing one hand on his shoulder and the other caressing his cheek, their faces now one on the other. Midoriya, Kyoka-chan. The girl only gave a soft giggle before approaching the green-haired boy's face and planting a tender kiss on his, which the young man returned a few seconds later. The kiss was warm and pleasurable for both of them. They could be discovered by their companions, but the idea only encouraged them to want to continue. The girl had to break up the scene without leaving a faint thread that revealed what they had just done. Jirou, does that answer your question? Midoriya, I think so, but I'd like to be sure. Jirou smiled and was seductively approaching the green-haired boy. Hosp. The young people's eyes widened in surprise when they heard that air of astonishment and quickly looked in all directions. Toru, gee guys, I was still here. Upon closer inspection, the young people realized it was indeed their invisible companion who was wearing a shirt and shorts as sleepwear, which none of them had noticed. Jirou, Toru-chan. How much did you see? Toru, since the girls left. Upon hearing this, the purple-haired girl brought her hands to her face to cover her embarrassment. Midoriya, we're sorry Toru-chan, WWE just didn't realize you were still here. Toru, did you plan to keep doing that if I didn't talk to you? The young men blushed at the question because, in reality, they didn't know how far they could go if they weren't stopped. Jirou, Toru-chan, please don't tell anyone, no one. Toru, but... Midoriya, please, Toru-chan, if the teachers find out about something like this, they could punish us or worse. Jirou, we could get expelled. The young men were on their knees begging the invisible girl who was nervous about their request. Toru, CCALMDOWN, I won't tell anyone. Jirou, I thank you, Toru. Toru, just one thing, don't do that in such public places, that way you won't get caught and that way it won't be my fault if you get discovered. Jirou / Midoriya, yes. The invisible girl retreated to her room, leaving the teenagers alone in the room. Midoriya, well I think it's getting late, I'll go to my room. Jirou, yes, I think I'll go to my room too. The young people headed to the rooms, arriving first at Midoriya's, who was somewhat nervous as the walk had been quiet but pleasant. Midoriya, well, here I come. Jirou, yes, well, I'll leave you now. Good night, Izuku-kun. Midoriya, good night, Kyoka-chan. Should I know, but I think it would be nice. Yes, I'll do it. What? The girl was about to leave when she quickly grabbed the boy by the shoulder and pulled him down to her height, giving him a quick kiss before continuing on her way. The boy quickly understood this and smiled before closing his bedroom door. The boy kept smiling to himself until someone caught his attention. Nana, today was a great day, huh? 9th. Midoriya, definitely teacher. Nana, I'm glad, but you'll have to be careful with that boy. Midoriya, yes, I'll have it. Nana, rest child, it's the weekend and 1,000 things can happen. The boy only saw as his teacher's spirit faded away, leaving only her presence in the room, before closing his eyes and falling asleep. The purple-haired girl reached her room, and as soon as she closed her door, she put her hands to her face and let out a scream as she jumped quickly until she fell onto her bed. Jirou, oh my god, my god, how did all this happen? The girl was scared, confused, ecstatic, and above all excited. Jirou, Midoriya is my boyfriend now. Well, we didn't exactly call it that, but we kissed more than once. That makes us boyfriend and girlfriend, right? I don't think Izuku was just playing a joke on me. I know him, he's not like that. He's more innocent than a cinnamon roll. Oh my god, I don't know what to do. Should I call mom? No, she'd nag me about this for the whole month. The girl overthought all the options until sleep finally overtook her. Jirou, how the hell did this happen? What did he see in me? Finally, with that thought, the girl closed her eyes, waiting for the next day. Gentlemen, Santa hasn't arrived yet, and I've already arrived with gifts. Taking advantage of the holidays, I'll be uploading slightly longer chapters or chapters with more dramatic scenes than the ones I've been posting. I want you to consider these as compensation for the lack of episodes I've published during this time. I'll be entering a creative frenzy and will try to advance the stories as much as I can. That's all for now. Happy holidays and a happy new year. I'm thinking of doing a New Year special for the harem. Doubts? The weekend had ended, classes with Aizawa went as usual, Momo and Ida being the most active participants. Mina and Toracha stealing some candy belonging to Sato. Aizawa-sensei contemplating thousands of ways to kill Kaminari and Mainta for falling asleep talking about inappropriate things. So if there was so much to listen to, I only wanted to hear the murmurs the green-haired boy made when thinking about the activity. The girl had been listening only to the boy's faint voice throughout the entire class, neglecting her surroundings until the bell rang. Aizawa, and unfortunately our time is up, thank goodness. I expect your assignments tomorrow so I can evaluate you before the theory exams. Study hard and don't just put in the bare minimum effort, or you can leave. Jirou, homework, oh no. The girl was embarrassed because she hadn't heard any homework assignments since she had been distracted throughout the entire class. Momo, Kyoka-chan, let's go to the cafeteria, are you coming with us? Jirou, yes, I'm coming, damn it, what now? The girl was trying to decide what to do. She didn't like the idea of asking Momo for the assignments since Momo was somewhat reluctant to share them and she was going to visit her parents that day. She knew Mina or Toru wouldn't have paid attention either. Her options were Tsuyuchan or Uraraka-chan. Jirou, Tsuyuchan, could you? The girl looked in the direction of her amphibious friend's seat, but realized she was no longer there. Jirou, Uraraka-chan. The girl looked and saw that she was already leaving with the other boys from the class. Jirou, this is bad. The girl was thinking about who else to ask for the notes and homework when a voice snapped her out of her panic. Midoriya. Hello, Kyoka-san, look, I saw you had some questions about the homework. If you want I could help you, I'm free all afternoon. Jirou, yes. Midoriya, well, I'll go have lunch with the guys, see you later. The boy was saying this when, turning his head, an extension of the earpiece prevented his retreat, making him return to the front of the girl. Jirou, that's one of the reasons why I love you. The boy only gave a slight laugh before moving closer to the girl and planting a kiss on her. The boys remembered that the teacher was still in the classroom and just looked in his direction with some panic, but to their relief, he was fast asleep still in his sleeping bag. Midoriya, see you this afternoon. Jirou, but of course we do. The girl quickly placed another kiss on the boy's lips, who then prepared to leave. Jirou, sighs, what did he see in me? What began as a romantic thought gradually turned into a serious doubt for the girl. Jirou, what did he see in me? The girl had spent most of the morning with that doubt on her mind, so she hadn't realized what time it was because she was already late. Jirou, damn it. The girl quickly snapped out of her thoughts and headed to her room to change her clothes and go to the green-haired boy's room. Mina, Kyoka-chan, you can't just leave the OUIJA board like THAT. Meanwhile, in the green-haired boy's room, he was calmly cleaning his floor when a voice in his thoughts interrupted him. Yoichi, you're not serious, are you? Ninth. Midoriya, Hikage, you brought your girlfriend that sounded weird. Well, will you bring your girlfriend to your room? Midoriya, yes. Nana, two young teenagers. Midoriya, yes. In a room. Midoriya, Daigoro, alone. Midoriya, are you trying to tell me something? Teachers. Nana, just don't close the door when you're alone. The boy was still trying to read what his teachers had said when something clicked in his head. Midoriya ilotate. Hey, I'm not going to do anything like that, NNO. Nana, we believe you're ninth, but Hikage senses don't. Hikage, just do what you're supposed to do. Midoriya, of course. Kyuru, now go take your shower, you stink. Midoriya, Nana, it's nothing personal. Ninth, but it's true. Daigoro, and hurry because you'll be late. You don't want your girlfriend to see you half-naked on the first day. The embarrassed boy left the OFA and quickly threw his casual clothes onto his bed as he undressed, grabbed a towel and ran to the showers, driven by the fear that someone would see him. Meanwhile, the purple-haired girl was turning the corner when she came face to face with the boy, who stopped abruptly upon seeing her. Nana, okay, the element of discretion is gone. Midoriya, Kaiokachin. The boy quickly turned red at the sight of the girl. At first, it hadn't bothered him. Men didn't usually hide anything from the waist up, and he'd only run into her 2 days before in the hallway leading to the showers. But this time he felt different. She was his girlfriend now, and he felt a certain panic in her presence that he'd never experienced with anyone else. Jirou, Izuku. The girl tried to keep her gaze on him, but it got lost in the boy's body, who only saw this, and his face turned a more intense color, almost like a tomato. When the girl realized what was happening, she tried to change the subject, because if things continued like this, one of them was going to faint at any moment. Jirou, I see you were going to the showers. Take a deep breathe. What? Midoriya, yes, I was going to take a shower before I met you. Jirou, okay, I'll wait for you to get ready. The shy boy walked past the girl, creating a strange sensation, like an electric current that ran down her spine to her head. The girl continued walking to her own room when she turned in the direction of the boy, looking at his back, which had some scars, before turning back and continuing on her way. The boy reached the showers and turned on the water to take his bath. He felt the water falling on his head as he remembered the girl's gaze from a few moments ago. I had never seen the girl with that face before. Looking at it closely, for some reason I didn't understand, she wanted the same opportunity as the purple-haired girl. At one point she felt her body react when, looking down, she saw that someone else had woken up. Midoriya, what? Nana, well, ninth, who would have thought you had a spear there? Midoriya, teacher, what are you saying? Daigoro, you know that if someone sees that, they could classify it as a hyperlethal weapon. Midoriya, please. You could kill someone, kid. Midoriya, that's enough, please. Yoichi, yes, we've all seen the boy's third leg, now let him shower in peace. You stay calm. Ninth. Midoriya, thank you, Master. Yoichi, and calm your friend down there. The boy just took a deep breath and tried to calm what seemed to be a fever, and the hot water wasn't helping. Finally, the boy calmed down and finished showering. As he came out of the showers, he saw his friends Mainta and Kaminari entering. Mainta, how do you think they'll look without all the suit stuff on top? Kaminari, beauties, well, I don't know about Jirou. Mainta, I can imagine all girls like that, but not her. The boy clenched his hands so tightly he could feel his blood running through them. Midoriya, I think it's because of things like this that you guys can't get girls. Kaminari, Mainta, come on Midoriya, it's not like you got a girlfriend being a pure soul. Midoriya, well, at least I'm not labeled a pervert for wanting to team up with a girl. The frustrated boys decided to stop arguing when a question popped into their heads, which were already clouded by so much adult content. Kaminari, tell us, Midoriya, isn't there anyone you like, from your class or school? Mainta, yeah, we see you're the one who gets closest to the girls, don't tell us there's no one around. Midoriya, Kaminari, come on, we won't tell anyone. What happens within these four walls stays within here. Midoriya, well. Mainta, it'll be Uraraka, you spend all day with her and she's got a great body. Kaminari coughs. Mainta, oh yes. Kaminari, come on, let it go. Midoriya was trying to escape when someone else entered the showers. Shoto, guys, I thought the showers were empty at this hour. Kaminari, Todoroki-kun, we were just asking Midoriya who he likes in the class. Shoto, that would be Jirou-san, right? The boys were stunned by the bicolored boy's suggestion. On the one hand, the gray-haired boy hadn't expected that, in his words, out of all the attractive girls in the class, the boy would choose the least endowed one. And on the other hand, the blonde boy didn't believe that all his humiliations would be useless in getting closer to her. Kaminari, is that true? Midoriya? Midoriya, NNO, we're just friends. Mainta, so who do you like? Midoriya, you said it was Uraraka-san. The duo quickly let the boy go and continue on his way. Kaminari, I told you it was her. Mainta, it was the most obvious thing to do. The boy was walking away when the bicolor's hand stopped him. Shoto, we'll talk later. The green-haired boy didn't understand why or what he would have to talk to Shoto about, but remembering their engagement, he hurried to his room. The rocker was changing in her room with a bit more calm, knowing that the green-haired man would take a little longer. Due to their meeting on the way to the showers, she looked at her closet, which had a few clothes because she didn't have much clothing for a date, so she had to be creative with this. She didn't have many options. She had her special concert clothes, her regular uniform, her swimming uniform, and some slightly more rebellious items. At first, she thought about keeping her regular uniform, but she didn't want the boy to think that was all she had. The swimming uniform wasn't an option, so she looked through her drawers and found an outfit that was decent. Jirou, what will he think of this? Do I look good? Ridiculous. Come on, Kyoka, you look fine. There's still time. Should I make something for the session? Maybe lemonade. I hope Midoriya likes it. The girl left her room and went to the kitchen, finding her friends Tsuyu and Toru there. Tsuyu, hi Kyoka-chan, hey, why did you leave? Kira. Toru, yes, do you have any idea how difficult it was to get the demon back on the board? It looked like it was escaping from something. Jirou, sorry girls, I remembered I had a date with Midoriya. Tsuyu, commitment. Toru quickly showed that she understood what her friend meant, at least from the way she moved. Jirou, yes, I asked him to help me study because I didn't understand the class. Tsuyu, he's good at explaining, you'll understand it the first time. He's already helped me before. Toru, come on Asui, the girls are waiting for us in Momo's room. Tsuyu, yes, goodbye Kyoka-chan, Kiro. The little frog was heading towards the stairs when the invisible girl approached the rocker. Toru, take care when you study, haha. The rocker quickly gave a nervous look at her friend's assumption, but she couldn't hear her anymore because she quickly moved ahead with her companion. Leaving the kitchen, the girl set about making the lemonade when she heard voices coming in. Kirishima, and I said to her, hey, is that your mom? She looks like your sister. Bakugo, why should I care about weird hair? Kirishima, hello Kyoka, Jirou, what? Kirishima, no, it's just. Bakugo, what's with those clothes? Jirou, what do you mean, what about her? What? Bakugo, they have ridiculous tastes, but today it seems you wanted to be the most ridiculous of all. Kirishima, come on man, it's just that the style you chose today is different. You usually wear the same purple shirt and black pants. Jirou, right, anyway, I've finished what I was doing, see you later Kirishima. Kirishima, see you later Jai. The girl left, clearly dissatisfied with being in the kitchen, taking 2 glasses and the pitcher of drinks with her, leaving the boys in the room. Kirishima, hey, that was kind of cruel. Bakugo, what do you want me to say? Damn it. The girl already had doubts about whether she looked good or not, and the answer from the ashy-haired girl increased her nervousness. Jirou, what did I expect? It's true, I look ridiculous. I should have buried the points in his damn eyes. I hope I have time to change. The girl had barely arrived at the boys' room, leaving the drinks on the table before leaving. She was about to touch the doorknob when someone called her. Knock, knock, knock. Jirou, yes, Midoriya, Kyoka-chan, it's me, Midoriya. The nervous girl opened the door and saw that the green-haired boy outside was noticeably wearing another towel, completely covering his body. Midoriya, I thought it would be awkward, so I got another. Jirou, oh sure, well, I'll wait for you outside while you know. The boy went in and the girl went out quickly so her friend could get dressed. The boy was heading towards his mattress when he saw the lemonade pitcher and 2 glasses on the table. Midoriya simply smiled at the rocker's gesture and quickly put on his clothes. The girl was uncomfortable in the hallway waiting for the green-haired boy. She already had doubts about her outfit. Jirou, does he think I look ridiculous? Damn, this was a bad idea. The girl was about to leave when the door opened. Midoriya, ready, you can now pass Kyoka-chan. The girl with no other option entered his room. The first thing she saw was the boy manipulating several members of the Black Whip while tidying up, using a vacuum cleaner and making his bed. Midoriya, I'm sorry for the mess, it was so sudden I forgot to clean up. Sit down, we'll start in a moment. The girl took one of his t-shirts and helped him clean it up. Midoriya, oh don't worry, I'll take care of it. Jirou, no, don't worry, let me help you. The boy didn't fully understand the reason but appreciated the gesture. The girl wanted to keep busy and not think about it, but she had to know the green-haired boy's opinion. She didn't know why, but she wanted to know. Jirou, Izuku. The boy raised his head to pay attention to the girl. Jirou, do you think I look ridiculous like this? The boy, who had been smiling, vanished, dropping the things he was holding. Jirou, I think that says it all. Midoriya, what? Why are you saying that? Jirou, well, it's just that some guys have already questioned my choice of clothes and I thought I looked good, but now I don't know. Midoriya, are you talking about Kakin? Jirou, did he tell you? Midoriya, no, it's intuition. Kakin dislikes everything, even the universe, but how do you feel in those clothes? Jirou, well, I thought I looked good. Midoriya, and I just see you as more beautiful. Upon hearing the boy, Jirou looked up, seeing his green eyes which were looking at her with a sweet smile. Midoriya, no matter how you look, I can only see you as more beautiful. The boys were getting closer and closer until they could almost feel each other's lips when a cough alarmed them. Jirou, Toru. No one answered the question until the boy spoke. Midoriya, Toru-chan, I'm going to unleash the whip, and if you're there, whatever happens won't be my fault. Toru, okay, that's it. Jirou, where are you? The invisible girl took a notebook so they could identify where she was. Midoriya, are you naked? Jirou, how long have you been there? Toru, Midoriya, no. Toru, see. Jirou, you saw him when he went in to change. Toru, you won the lottery, Kyoka-chan. The girl prepared her earlobes to attack the other girl, but she quickly opened the door and escaped. Jirou, I'm going to lock it. Oh, if. Daigoro, they're going to grape you, kid. Nana, the drama has already begun. The boy only turned red from his teacher's words until the girl spoke. Jirou, well, we have to start, right? The girl took her notebook and sat on the boy's bed. Midoriya, sure. The boy followed his girlfriend and began the study session. Throughout this, the girl didn't understand some parts of it, becoming frustrated. Midoriya, no. Jirou, arg, this is impossible. Midoriya, just breathe. Jirou, sorry to waste your time, Izuku. Midoriya, don't worry, you're not wasting my time, I already know. The girl looked at the boy who took her by the shoulder to pull her closer and kiss her. Jirou, why's that? Midoriya, for every problem you answer correctly, you'll receive a kiss. The girl seemed to have entered a trance-like state, not blinking. Midoriya, Kyoka. The girl quickly grabbed her notebook and began writing in it, and in a short time she handed the notebook to the green-haired boy. Jirou, there it is. Midoriya, okay, let me check it out. The boy began to check the transactions when he felt arms wrap around his neck, and when he turned around he saw that the purple-haired girl was leaning on the boy's shoulder. Jirou, don't you believe in me? Midoriya, it's not that, I just want to make sure everything is all right. The boy soon realized that all the problems were indeed correct. Midoriya, well, as promised. The girl took the boy's hands and laid him down on the bed while she kissed him, who did not resist. Midoriya, I don't know if it's a reward for you or for me. Jirou, it doesn't matter, we just have to enjoy it. The boy smiled and they continued their kissing session, which grew more passionate as it went on. The girl would occasionally stop kissing the boy's lips to gently lower her lips and give him small hickeys on his neck, which made him giggle. Jirou, do you like it? Midoriya, I'd like to try it myself. Jirou, pervert, said the purple-haired girl, giving the green-haired boy a smile. After this, the boy turned to the purple-haired girl, who was now leaving the boy, while giving him a look that mixed nervousness and excitement at the sight she had of the boy. Midoriya, do you want to continue? Jirou, that's not a question. The boy started kissing her again, marking his territory on her lips with light bites that only excited the purple-haired girl. She could feel his tongue exploring her mouth as she fought with hers, trying to enter his, which was quite playful. He then finished with a tender kiss before moving to kiss her neck just as she had done to him. Midoriya, it seems you liked the idea, didn't you? Jirou, quite a lot. The boys were about to continue when someone knocked on the door. Midoriya, oh Tsuyu-chan, how are you? Tsuyu, tell me a sui Kiro. Midoriya, oh well, what do you need a Sui-chan? Tsuyu, Minachan said you were going to tell Kyoka-chan how to do some of the activities. I hope she can study with you guys too, Kiro. Midoriya, oh sure, come in. The purple-haired girl, having heard the knocks on the door, quickly got back up and tidied herself up so as not to arouse suspicion about the act they were engaged in. Tsuyu, hello Kyoka-chan. Jirou, hello Asui-chan. Tsuyu, I hope I haven't interrupted anything. Jirou, don't worry, there's no problems. The young people sat on the boy's bed and continued to help their amphibious friend with her studies, as well as clear some things up with the purple-haired girl. But they were still somewhat excited by the moment, something the green-haired girl ignored among the couple. Class suspicions. The day was quiet for a duo who woke up in their own rooms. Both got dressed and prepared for the school day. The day passed quietly, both lunchtime and the initial classes, but now it was time to eat something and a group of girls were getting ready to go. Momo, let's go to the cafeteria before we miss out on the tables. Mina, come on Kyoka-chan, hurry up. Jirou, you guys go ahead, I'll go do some things, I'll see you after lunch. Tsuyu, everything's alright Kyoka-chan. Kiro, Jirou. Yes, you all can relax, I'll see you later. Toru, well, Uraraka, see you later. And so the purple-haired girl calmly left the room, leaving her friends with doubts. Momo, does anyone know where she's going? Mina, no idea, he just said he was going to do some things. Tsuyu, Kyoka-chan has been acting strange this week, or is it just me? Kiro. Uraraka, now that you mention it, he hasn't teamed up with us in Izuoka-sensei's tests anymore. Toru, and this is the third time she's left us at lunch without her. Mina, okay, but we'll talk about that later. We're going to run out of places to eat and we'll have to find somewhere to sit down. The girls put the matter off for later while elsewhere. Mineta, and since then I've preferred to stay away from electrical currents. Kaminari, dude, I know some people are desperate, but trying to do that with an electrical outlet, you're even more desperate. Kirishima, I wish I hadn't heard that. Midoriya, me too. Message sound. Shoto, is something wrong, Midoriya? Midoriya, no, I have to go somewhere else. Lita, do you need help with something, friend? Midoriya, no, I'm going alone, don't worry, I'll be back later. Guys / Bakugo, goodbye Midoriya / rot nerd. Takami, don't you think it's strange? Sato, what are you talking about? Takami, this is the first time Midoriya has disappeared without saying where he's going. Ajiro, well, I might have some commitments. Lita, well said, we can't talk about our colleague like that. Zero, but think about it, well, it seems suspicious to me. Shoto, suspect Shoto. Zero, yes, that too, that he goes out of nowhere to who knows where for half an hour and then comes back saying he was a little late. Lita, that it really is kind of weird. Shoto, is he involved in something? My best friend doesn't fool me. Bakugo, it's definitely drugs. Ajiro / Kirishima, WHAT. Bakugo, well, I imagine so. Sato, I'd believe that from Mineta or even Kaminari, but from Midoriya. Shoto, we'd have to ask Ha, as if I'd make it that easy for them. Lita, but what if it's something personal? We can't interfere in her life like that, it would be insensitive of us. Ajiro, well, Koda, that's a good point. Bakugo, you're the bucking class president, so what if it's personal or not? Kaminari, besides, it's not the class president's job to know the condition of his classmates. Lita. Kirishima, they already beat you, man. Lita, I'm sorry Midoriya, they have a good point. The president thought to himself while comically crying. Elsewhere. Jirou, okay, now close your eyes and say Aya. Midoriya asayums. The young couple were peacefully having lunch opposite each other, completely satisfied as they shared their food in a way that made it clear it was romantic. Midoriya, it tastes good. Jirou, I told you wasabi tastes good in the end. Midoriya, if you give it to me, of course it is. The young couple started to get a little romantic when they heard a voice approaching. Shoto, Midoriya, are you here? The young men quickly got back to their feet and gathered their belongings, hoping not to leave any evidence when the young man found them under the bleachers. Shoto, here they are. Midoriya T. Todoroki-kun, what's up? We were just studying. Jirou, yes, WWE were just studying. Shoto, guys, I know you're dating, you didn't even bring a notebook to lie to me. Both young men lowered their shoulders and heads at the words of the bicolored boy. Jirou, are we that obvious about this? The girl said, her head lowered in embarrassment. Shoto, actually no, they hid well, but nobody can escape the shot octave. Midoriya, that's true. Jirou, and what are you doing here, Todoroki? Shoto, the boys haven't figured it out yet, but they've noticed Midoriya acting suspiciously lately, and I think the girls have too. Midoriya, did they say that? Shoto simply nodded, confirming his friend's question. His friend looked at the purple-haired girl whose face combined nervousness, fear, and anguish. Shoto, I decided to tell you this if you don't want what happened between you to get out at school and get punished. Midoriya, thanks Shoto, you're the best friend I could ever have. Elsewhere. Lita, Heartbroken with broccoli. Shoto, you know shot octave is my gift, my curse. I'll leave you guys now. I don't want the boys to think I told them about this. Be careful. The young people said goodbye to their companion, leaving them alone again. Midoriya, what do you think? Jirou, if we want to continue with what we're doing, we need to be more careful. We'll have to find places where we won't be seen together, and I don't think it's safe to do this in the dorms anymore. Midoriya, yes, the boy said with a sad tone in his voice. Jirou, hey, relax, we'll still see each other inside or outside of school. I'm not going to break up with my boyfriend over that. Midoriya, I don't know what I did to deserve such a pretty girlfriend. Jirou, come here, the girl said as she opened her arms to receive a hug from the boy, who returned it tenderly. Later that day, the girls were puzzled because lunchtime was over and the rocker girl arrived with them, serious and without saying a word, even though that was actually her usual behavior. The girls had just left the purple-haired girl on the sofa in the dormitory's common room, while the rest of the girls went to the raven-haired girl's room to talk without her hearing them. Momo, okay, this is weird, Mina, and you tell us this. All week she's been coming in with a smile, now she's arrived with her serious tone, something's going on here, I'm sure of it. Tsuyu, yesterday when I went to Midoriya's room, he was happy too, Kier. Momo, wait, to Midoriya's room. Tsuyu nods, yes, I was there too to receive guidance on Izuoka-sensei's activities. Toru, Yai's SG told me she was going to study with him. Momo, are you okay, Toru-chan? Toru, yes, of course I'm fine, why wouldn't I be? Hea. The girls ignored this and continued talking. Uraraka, I'll go find the boys and ask Midoriya if he knows what's wrong with Kyoka-chan. The brunette went downstairs and left the building to look for the boys. She didn't take long as she found them in the direction she had come from. Kirishima, Uraraka-san, hello, is something wrong? Uraraka, hello guys, Kirishima, have you seen Deku-kun? Kirishima, hasn't he arrived yet? Uraraka, what do you mean? Kaminari, well, we haven't seen him since classes ended. First he dropped us off before lunch and then after classes ended. Uraraka, him too. Takami too. Uraraka, well, Kyoka did the same thing to us too, now she's here but act normal. Minta, is that weird? Uraraka, yes, well no, it's complicated to explain. Lita, actually Midoriya has also acted like that. Could the two of them be involved? Uraraka, I don't know. Bakugo, their drugs. Uraraka, ehhh. Shoto, no. Uraraka, okay, come on. The young people entered the building and saw that the rocker was still watching television, ignoring her companions. Kaminari, hello Kyoka-chan. Kyoka. Zero, psst, said the boy, calling the blonde boy's attention so he would follow him. The boy followed them to the top of the stairs where he saw all the young heroines waiting for news. Mina, well, where's Midoriya? Sato, he wasn't with us, we thought he was already here. Momo, no, it hasn't arrived yet. Uraraka, they say that Deku-kun acts just like Kyoka-chan. Tsuyu, this is getting weirder, could those two be planning something? Kero. Lita, it's hard to know. Momo, should we just ask what's going on? Minta, I doubt they'll tell us that easily. Ajiro, or we could, you know. Takami, are you suggesting we spy on them? Lita, definitely not. Momo, but they have a point, it's not certain they'll tell us if we ask them. None of the young people objected when someone else spoke. Kirishima, and how would we do it? Mina, Kyoka-chan is in the living room, can we set up a hidden camera or microphone? Tsuyu, if there's something going on between those two, they'll definitely talk about it without us being there. Momo, I can create a camera to see them and a microphone, but I'd need someone to distract Kyoka and not arouse suspicion. Shoto, hey, I'm not really convinced about doing this. Toru, me neither. Lita, I respect that. The young people were about to leave while I was thinking the same thing. Shoto/Toru, I must warn them. They had barely put one foot on the lower step when several arms stopped them. Shaoji, but we can't let them warn them. They were quickly wrapped in Ciro's tapes and lifted out of gravity by Uravity's gift, and Minta filled the tape with grapes to prevent it from breaking. Momo, sorry guys, but it's necessary. Both young men were unsure what to do. Shoto could burn the tapes, but Minta knew the grapes were difficult to remove, and if he tried to escape, they might discover he was hiding something. Toru had no chance at all they could do was writhe in pain, desperately trying to show mercy. Momo, now who will plant the devices and distract Kyoka? A little frog and a redhead raised their hands to offer themselves. Momo, okay Tsuyu, set up the camera, and Kirishima, distract Kyoka as much as you can. Both young men nodded and set off. The purple-haired girl was venturing into the canals to look for something interesting when she was called. Kirishima, hey Kyoka-chan, what are you looking at? Kyoka, oh hi, nothing, I was just looking for something interesting. Kirishima, I see but 150 channels and there's nothing. The boy said while giving a thumbs up, letting the green-haired girl know she could act. Kyoka, yes, 150 boring channels. The little frog picked up the camera and microphone and crawled across the floor to the sofa where the girl was sitting. It placed the microphone to one side of the sofa, turned on the silence, and moved away. Kyoka, but there are only news channels, sports, movies, but only boring stuff. Kirishima, while the boy began to notice that the conversation was ending and didn't know what else to say to make noise, I'm hungry, I'm going to make something, do you want anything? Kyoka, no, I already ate. Kirishima, okay, but don't go stealing my food later. The little frog stuck to the ceiling and waited for the boy to be distracted before acting. Kirishima, Kyoka, do you know where the cereal is? Kyoka, they're in the pantry next to the grills. Kirishima, which one? The girl just sighed and got up to go to her companion. The green-haired girl took advantage of the situation and quickly placed the camera in a corner, pointing it at the sofa. Kyoka, here they are. Kirishima, oh hee thanks. Kyoka, didn't you say you were going to cook? Kirishima, well, thinking made me a little tired, so I decided to eat cereal instead. Kyoka, okay, the frog girl quickly moved away and headed for the stairs without her friend noticing. Kirishima, well, see you later, Kyoka. The girl sat back down on the sofa and continued browsing the canals. In Momo's room, Azabash was watching a small screen waiting for the camera connection when she finally managed it. Momo, we already have a video. The young people quickly approached, noticing that the room was empty except for the purple-haired girl. Momo, shhh. Kirishima, that's it, did it work? Mina, yes. Momo, now we just have to wait for Midoriya to arrive and we'll know what happens. Uraraka, they won't know we're here, will they? We can pretend to leave and come back in through the roof and return here. Lita, that's a plan. The young men, having agreed, left the girls' room and made their departure known. Tsuyu, goodbye Kyoka-chan. Kyoka, are they going out? Mina, we're going to the mall, are you coming? Everyone's thinking was critical because that way they wouldn't know what was happening between them. Kyoka, no, I want to rest today, do nothing, maybe next time. Momo, okay, shall we get you something? Kyoka, no, I already ate. Lita, see you later, Kyoka. Kyoka, peace. The young people left but quickly went back to the building and entered through the roof with the help of the chestnut-haired girl's Quirk and some on their own, reaching the ebony-haired girl's room. Minta, did he believe us? Kaminari, I hope so, if they find us they're going to kill us. Lita, well, only if they discover us, now all we can do is wait. The young people were still waiting for their friend to arrive when they saw the building door open. Momo, there it is. The young people approached the screen to see what was happening in the room. Midoriya, hello Kyoka-chan. Jirou, hello Izuku-kun. The girl turned around, smiling as the boy approached the sofa, also smiling. The boy left his backpack behind the sofa as he bent down, and the girl grabbed the boy by the neck, pulling him down to give him a kiss. The boy's jaws opened so wide it looked like they were about to pop out of place. Kirishima, am I the only one who saw it, or did it really happen? Mina, Kyoka-chan. Uraraka, I kissed him, she said with a faraway look. Midoriya, how are you? Jirou, I'm feeling better now. Midoriya looked around in all directions, searching for any activity from his friends, but there was a resounding no. Midoriya, whispering, is anyone here? Jirou, no, they went to the mall a while ago, we're completely alone. Midoriya, in that case. The boy turned around on the sofa as the girl stood up to give him her place. He lay down, covering the length of the sofa, and then the girl lay down in front of him and the boy held her with his hand. In Momo's room. Mina, oh, this revelation is strange but still Momo, they look cute. Lita, but this isn't appropriate. We're strictly forbidden from having romantic relationships within UA, I must. Zero, I'm sorry bro. Zero quickly tied Lita up with the tapes and Minta pinned him to a wall to immobilize him. Kaminari, sorry guys, but we can't let them ruin the Nove investigation. Well, Jirou, did you hear that? They all quickly gasped for breath, fearing discovery, as they watched the girl connect one of her earlobes to the floor and try to listen for any noise in the building. Bakugo, let me go you sons of bitches. Quickly, everyone tried to restrain the Muslim so he wouldn't make noise, achieving their goal. Midoriya, is something wrong? Jirou, nah, I thought I heard something but it's nothing. Midoriya, well, did you find anything to watch? Jirou, well, I found some movies we could watch together. Midoriya, heh, I didn't know you liked romance novels. Jirou, it's just for the soundtracks. Midoriya, hee, sure, choose whichever one you want. I'll go get some food from the kitchen. Do you want anything? Jirou, of course, I'm starving. Momo's room. Kirishima, he told me he'd already eaten and there was nothing interesting on TV. Sato, it seems they had planned to spend the day together. Koda, I didn't know they were so romantic. Well, the green-haired youth got up and went to the kitchen, while the purple-haired girl took a blanket and wrapped herself in it while changing the channels. The boy took a little while but arrived with The boy arrived wearing a tank top and carrying the plates. When the girl moved aside a little, giving him some space, he sat down. Midoriya, here's the cute one. Jirou, thank you. The girl saw the boy's appearance and his attitude with the rocker as something daring romantic that suited the boy. Momo room. Momo, well, Midoriya isn't bad. Uraraka, not bad at all. Tsuyu, you already spoke, Uraraka-chan Kira. Mina, Kyoka-chan is so lucky. Toru, and they haven't seen anything. The girls quickly turned to where the silhouette of the invisible girl was, seeing that she had finally managed to remove her gag. Meanwhile, the boys continued to watch the boy's good fortune while a poor blonde boy cried in a corner over his utter failure to win the girl's heart first. Hall. The boys had already been watching the movie for 40 minutes and had only witnessed how their friends were being rather affectionate, feeding each other pieces of snack and cuddling. Some had already lost interest, and others simply couldn't take their eyes off the screen until the very end of the film. Midoriya, wow, I thought it wouldn't be that good. Jirou, don't judge my tastes without trying them first. Midoriya, which part did you like the most? Jirou, easy when they started kissing. The boy approached and began to tenderly kiss the young woman's neck when he made another comment. Midoriya, oh Jirou, yes. Midoriya, do you want me to stop? Jirou, no, keep going. The young man continued kissing the girl from the base of her neck to her forehead, teasing her and eliciting a few moans that escaped her due to his passion, causing them to lie on top of each other on the sofa. HM. Kirishima, guys, aren't you going to, you know what? Shaoji, I'm definitely not sitting on that couch again. Minta, more room for me. Momo, I didn't think Midoriya was capable of taking the initiative in something like this. Mina, what a surprise they gave us today. Toru shhhh. Well, Jirou managed to pronounce the boy's name with difficulty, but more than asking him to stop, she wanted him to keep doing it. Whenever she could, the girl kissed her green-haired boyfriend passionately, wanting to never let him go. In one swift movement, the young rocker reached inside the boy's shirt, feeling his body without any barriers. Midoriya, hey. Jirou, does it bother you? Midoriya, no, but you just have to ask. Jirou, Izuku, can you take off your shirt? The boy stood up a little and at the request of the girl who had a slight blush, he removed his shirt, leaving his bare torso exposed. The girl could only hold his earlobes as she examined every detail of the boy's body. He was exactly as she remembered him. Midoriya, believe me, even though we're dating, this is still kind of embarrassing, the boy said while scratching the back of his neck and closing his eyes to try and calm down. The young man only heard something else being thrown when, opening his eyes and focusing his gaze on the young rocker hero, he saw that she had thrown her shirt to the floor, leaving the boy with a view of her body, only her bra being the last thing covering her. Jirou, now we're even, can you do it again? The girl, now with a bit more initiative, approached the broccoli who was frozen and began kissing him from the top of his abdomen, then down to his chest, his neck, and finally his lips, where the boy managed to react and follow the girl's lead. Some of the young people were turning reddish as they watched the young couple in the room with the clear exception of one grape-haired boy. Kaminari, okay, I can't see this. Mina, come on, don't tell me they're ashamed of this. Kaminari, it's not shameful, I respect Madabro. The girl turned around and saw that all the other boys had their backs to the wall. Tsuyu, I think I'll go with them, Kiro. Momo, I'm happy for Kyoka, even though it's still unexpected. Uraraka, me too, I didn't know Deku was dating Kyoka, but if they're happy then I am too. The brunette was hurt to see her beloved green-haired boy kissing another girl, but at the same time she was happy seeing how much the two young people loved each other. Mina, I don't understand anymore, so who's the passive one and who's the dominant one? Upon hearing this, the girls simply turned to look at their pink-skinned friend who had a thoughtful expression. Hall. Kyoka, hey, don't have fun all by yourself. The young people could see how the girl began to hold the boy's back tightly while it seemed as if she was biting his shoulder, while the green-haired boy did the same. Kyoka, I love you, Izuku-kun. Midoriya, I love you too, Kyoka. Toru, I think they're both. Mina, how cute. Momo, it's best not to think about that. Tsuyu, I think they should stop watching that. Uraraka, I think so too. Momo, so. Uraraka, why don't we just let them? Mina, why is the novel good? Toru, what can be done? Uraraka, I think we can only keep watching. Momo, if there's no other way. Class suspicions too. The young students were still in the raven-haired girl's room. The boys had headphones on so as not to hear the intimate sounds coming from the couple out of respect for their friend, while the girls watched the screen very intently. Shaoji, how can they see that so easily? Kirishima, and without problems. Mina, please, it's like you guys were looking at those magazines. Kaminari, correction, the magazines are run by women who are part of the industry in exchange for money, and besides, we don't know them. Minta, and this isn't the case, we can't be like that with Midoriya. Momo, wow, perverts but with morals. Kaminari/Minta, exactly, thumbs light. The girls were still watching when the purple-haired girl stopped the boy's actions. Jirou, W8, Izuku-kun. Midoriya, is something wrong, Kyoka? Jirou, I was thinking, when are we going to tell the guys about us? Midoriya, why do you ask? Jirou, no, it's just they've been worried about us these past few weeks. And because of what Todoroki-kun said, they could find us out at any moment, and I wouldn't want us to get punished for what we're doing. Midoriya, sighs, I'd also like to tell you about us, the boy said, while caressing the cheek of the reclining girl. I'd like to find the right words. Jirou, do you think they'll keep our secret? Midoriya, they're our friends, I trust them, well, of course I trust you more. Jirou, okay. Midoriya, just give me a few days. If they keep investigating, I'll let you know, or we can leave it at that and be more careful. The couple only chuckled slightly before returning to kissing and the movie. The young people who were listening felt a slight pain in their chests, because they had barely reacted completely. They had invaded their friend's privacy. They had seen their friend and his girlfriend in the act, and now they were hearing them talking well of them behind their backs. Kirishima, we're terrible friends. Lita could only shed rivers of tears at the words of her friend, whom she had intended to punish for his actions, before hearing how her friend was willing to confess their relationship in the hope that she would keep him quiet. The girls couldn't believe how they could do that. Even though they were aware of the situation, they continued to invade the couple's privacy. At least the boys had respected their right to privacy, but the girls had continued to violate it. Momo, I think it's best if we turn this off. Tsuyu, I think that would be best, Kiro. Azabash was about to turn off the screen while they watched the latest from the young people. The green-haired boy held the purple-haired girl by her slender waist, while she caressed his cheek with one of her hands and finally turned off the screen. The young students were leaving as they had come in, leaping across the rooftops thanks to Uraraka's quirk and Seiro's tape. They decided to let the young people have at least some of the privacy that had been taken from them and go somewhere else, specifically, go and do what the couple thought they were doing. Midoriya, I'm glad to be here with you. Kyoka, me too. The young people continued watching television, with Izuku eventually lying down while the purple-haired girl rested peacefully on his chest. Later. The young couple was already in the kitchen trying to prepare something for dinner with Izuku cooking and Kyoka setting the mood. Midoriya, have you found a perfect one yet? Kyoka, not yet, how's dinner going? Midoriya, it's going well, I just can't find the salt bottle. The girl continued scrolling through her playlists when she clicked on the right song. Midoriya, here it is, hey, I like that one. The boy continued cooking when he felt a pair of arms slip around his waist, gently wrapping them around him. The girl could hear the boy's heartbeat through her back. It was a sound she liked to hear. Midoriya, Kyoka. Kyoka, just a little more. Midoriya wanted to tell her that dinner was ready, but at the girl's request he could only smile and leave the food cooking on low heat. The boy turned carefully, trying not to break the girl's embrace, and made the same movement to the girl, who could only gaze happily into those green eyes she had memorized. They would have remained like that if it hadn't been for the boy's stomach, which interrupted the moment. Kyoka, oh, dinner's ready, right? Midoriya, what? Oh yeah, for a while now. Kyoka, well, it's time for dinner. The young people sat down at the table and ate dinner quietly, accompanied only by the sound of music. Everything was going wonderfully when they heard a door opening. Midoriya, it must be the boys. Kyoka, shit, my shirt is in the living room. The young woman looked around trying to find something to cover herself with when she saw the apron. The girl quickly put it on and returned to the table. Midoriya, it has to work, the guys wouldn't notice. The situation would have been better if it had been his colleagues who had arrived, but instead, it was a dark-haired man with a tired look who approached the room. Midoriya, AIZAWSNSEI. Kyoka, it's clear they're going to punish us. Midoriya, good evening, Izuoka-sensei. Aizawa, troublemaker. Kyoka, I see you're already having dinner. Do you have any idea where your other classmates are? Kyoka, well, they told me they were going to the mall, they shouldn't be long. Aizawa, okay, just a reminder to clean the dishes you use. Midoriya/Kyoka, hey. The teacher approached the stove and took a plate of what he had prepared. Aizawa, if you don't mind, I'll have some of what you prepared. The green-haired boy began to sweat from nerves, while the rocker girl could only pray that her beloved broccoli would calm down and not arouse suspicion. Aizawa, Midoriya. Midoriya, yais Izuoka-sensei. Aizawa, if you're feeling sick, you should put on a jacket. Walking around shirtless isn't healthy, and if you keep this up, come see recovery girl tomorrow. Midoriya, odd of course, sensei. Aizawa, I'm going to sleep, see you tomorrow. The teacher was leaving when the students let out a slight sigh of relief. Aizawa, as if they didn't know I knew what they were doing. Memories. Nimuri, come on Shota, just one little kiss. Aizawa, Nimuri, we know very well that when you receive that kind of affection you tend to go to extremes. Besides, we're in the living room. Nimuri, please, I promise I'll calm down, but only one Shota. Aizawa, sigh, okay, just once, alright. Later that day. Yamada, hhhhh, seriously, they found you like this with Nimuri. Hahaha. Aizawa, shut up, that's why we were sanctioned and given a report, but I don't think it's going to cause much more than that. Now. Aizawa, because of that day they created the pairing system, it just made it more exciting though. The guys have the nerve to judge me. The teacher left the place with only a slight, very slight smile and left the young people. Return. Midoriya, that was close. Jirou, you're kidding, I thought I was going to faint. Midoriya, I think you should put your shirt on before the boys arrive. Jirou, yes, you're right. The girl went to the living room and took her top to put it on and returned to finish dinner. The young people finished and heard a noise coming from the room, catching their attention. Midoriya, it seems they've arrived. Some of his friends were already in the room, pretending that nothing was wrong. Kirishima, ah, hello Madabro, did you just arrive? Midoriya, no, I've been here for a while now. I didn't know they'd gone out until I asked Kyoka. Momo, we went to the malls. Uraraka, I wish you had come with us, you wouldn't have been alone. Midoriya, don't worry, like I said, I was with Kyoka, it wasn't boring. The purple-haired girl remembered what they had been doing that kept them from getting bored, which gave her cheeks a slight blush, which she hid by feigning a cough. Kyoka, cough, cough, cough. Lita, I see you've just finished dinner too, what a relief. We forgot to bring anything for you. Minta, I brought churros, said the boy, offering them to his green-haired friend. Midoriya, thank you. The members of Class A were impressed by how easily and fluidly the boy concealed his actions. If none of them had observed what they were doing, they wouldn't have suspected anything was going on between him and the purple-haired girl. Midoriya, well, I'm going to my room. See you tomorrow, guys. Lita, see you tomorrow, Midoriya. Uraraka, see you tomorrow, Deku-kun. Kyoka, bye. The purple-haired girl wanted to go with him, even sleep with him, but she knew it might raise suspicions, so she just kept listening to what was on her phone. The girls wanted to shout at her about her situation, especially one pink-skinned girl who looked like she was about to explode if she remained silent. All she could do was take a deep breath and let out a sigh of endurance. The purple-haired girl stretched slightly before turning and speaking. Kyoka, I think I'll go to sleep too. See you later. Mina, rest, Kyoka. Tsuyu, see you tomorrow, Kiro. They were all pretending to be doing something when, after no longer seeing her on the stairs, they quickly cornered Todoroki and Hagakure. To everyone's surprise, these two were offended without looking at them. Lita, please, Todoroki-kun, said the class president, kneeling in front of the bicolored boy with his fingers intertwined. Uraraka, don't tell Deku-kun what we did, said Machi, repeating the delegate's action. Shoto, do you hear something, Hagakure-chan? Toru, no. Kirishima, please, dude, you know how annoyed they'll both be when they realize that. Shoto, excuse me, but I am a good friend. Kaminari could end. The bicolor was about to go up the stairs when those words made him stop dead in his tracks. Toru, what do you mean? Kaminari, WL, we're supposed to be forbidden from having partners at UA, so not only will the school punish you, but if you want to continue studying here, you'll have to stop being in a relationship. The bicolored boy hadn't thought of that and felt that Kaminari had a point. Toru, is it true? Ajiro, well, it's one of the school rules. Toru, shut up, I wasn't talking to you. The girl began to whisper to the boy with the two-toned hair, who analyzed their positions and came to a conclusion. Shoto, okay, we won't tell Midoriya or Kyoka anything. The students quickly sighed and clutched his chest in their hands. Sato, thanks, guys. The young people decided to go to their rooms, confident that their friends wouldn't say anything, even though they had a lump in their throats that they wanted to tell them. Toru, do you think it's true that they could break up if someone finds out about them? Shoto, I don't know, but I wouldn't want to find out. The next day. The classes were in the beta zone. Several of the students were improving their techniques and special moves, while a young green-haired boy was practicing his gift of floating in an iconic pose with the index finger and thumb of his hand lightly touching, his feet crossed and floating a little over a meter off the ground. The boy was slowly rising when a small stone hit his cheek, calling to him. When he looked in the direction it came from, he noticed a purple-haired girl smiling and waving to her beloved broccoli. The boy, making sure no one was watching, quickly stood up and walked towards the girl. She knew they were in a crowded place with two teachers, but she didn't want to deny her beloved boyfriend affection and make him feel sad. The green-haired boy was already in front of her, and once he simply said a few words to the girl. Midoriya closes his eyes. The girl obeyed and, raising her head slightly, closed her eyes, waiting for a kiss from her boyfriend. But what she felt was a small prick on her nose. It was a kiss, yes, but not the one the girl was expecting. Jirou, you are bad, Izuku-kun. Appointment day. It had been a few days since the young students of Class A had discovered the relationship between their green-haired friend and their rocker friend, so they decided to let them have some time alone. They felt remorseful for spying on them and felt that giving them space was enough to try and apologize. It was Saturday morning, so there wasn't much to do and the day was relaxing. The girls were in the common room watching television when the sound of footsteps coming down the stairs made them turn around out of curiosity, finding their green-haired friend who looked like he had just come out of the shower. Uraraka, hello Deku-kun. Midoriya, hi girls. Tsuyu, Midoriya-chan, where are you going dressed like that? Kyoto. Midoriya, oh, I was going out with Kyoka. She said there was a new place and she needed my help. Have you seen her? Mina, rogues, I think she was outside. Midoriya, oh well then I'll leave you guys, bye girls. Uraraka / Mina / Tsuyu, goodbye Deku-kun / Midoriya-kun. Mina, oh, love, the girl said, clasping her hands together. Uraraka, they look so romantic, repeating her friend's action. More footsteps were heard from the stairs and the class vice president entered the room, accompanied by the invisible girl. Momo, we heard everything. With that said, all the girls approached the window, noticing how the green-haired boy took the purple-haired girl's hand and they walked away together. Momo, I'm glad Kyoka is happy with Midoriya-kun. I didn't expect her to be the first of us to get a boyfriend. Mina, I'll have to get gifts for when they get married. Uraraka, me too, although, well, something cheap, hee. Momo, it must be something big. Toru, GIRLS, please, you're just dating. If the day comes when you get married, and I really want that, she said, smiling, you'll be embarrassed when you see that we already have everything ready. Momo, well that's true, they're barely dating and about that. Tsuyu, they said they were going somewhere new. It was Kyoka's idea, so I guess it'll be music-related. Momo, Uraraka, something's wrong. Momo, I was expecting a slightly more. Mina, romantic Momo, yes. Elsewhere, Jirou Kyoka. The purple-haired girl could be seen clutching her stomach while laughing hysterically. The reason. The green-haired boy was squatting with his right hand inside the mouth of a vending machine, all while sweating profusely. Next to him, a security guard was radioing for help. A while passed before the two young people were walking down a street while the girl continued laughing. Jirou, hahaha, how did that happen? Midoriya, I don't know, I just wanted some carrots and the machine jammed. I hit it a little and when I put my hand in, the machine moved weird and I don't know when my arm got stuck. Jirou, hahaha. Midoriya, okay, so where are we going now? You told me you needed my help. Jirou, oh yes, I wanted to show you a music store, I like it a lot. Midoriya, awesome, when did you discover it? Jirou, well, I've known her since I was 2 years old. Midoriya, since I was 2. Jirou, yes, it was the first time my parents brought me to the store. Midoriya, oh, they work here. Jirou, no, the place belongs to them. The girl was saying this when she opened the door of a shop and the boy's face was shocked by what he saw inside. There were several shelves full of records and some posters of different bands and artists, but it didn't resemble the purple-haired girl's face when she saw her boyfriend's reaction to the place. Jirou, what do you think? Midoriya, that's great, but is it okay for your parents to meet me? I mean, isn't it a bit soon? Jirou, don't worry, my parents aren't coming to the shop today. Kyokacchen. Then her smile vanished, her eyes widened as much as they could, and fear took over. The green-haired boy barely noticed when a woman slightly taller than Kyoka approached and hugged the girl. If he didn't know Kyoka, he would have thought the woman was his girlfriend's twin as they were identical except for their height. Jirou, what are you doing here? You were supposed to come tomorrow. Mika, well, the girl who helps us said she couldn't come today and I decided to come in her place, the woman said with a smile, before she noticed the green-haired man next to her daughter and who is this young man. Jirou, mom, this is Izuku Midoriya. Izuku, I think you already know my mom. Mika, nice to meet you, young man. Yes, I'm Kyoka's attractive mother and my gift is eternal youth. Midoriya, hey Mika, oh relax, it's just a little joke. I'm really happy to meet you. It's the first time Kyoka has brought a boy to meet and especially an attractive one. The green-haired boy was turning red with embarrassment and the purple-haired girl was just as embarrassed. Mika, but hey, what a nice boyfriend you got, daughter. The embarrassment of both of them increased exponentially upon hearing the woman. The purple-haired woman could only try to formulate any words, but no matter what she thought, nothing came out of her. Mika, haha, well, if you're going to be here you can listen to whatever you want. I'm going to check on the warehouse distributors, I'll be back in a bit. If you need anything, you know where everything is. Nice to meet you, kid. Midoriya, same. The woman came out smiling as she flipped the sign from open to closed. Both young people were still red-faced when a single word changed the atmosphere. Midoriya, SSO, what do you want to show me? The purple-haired girl, though embarrassed for an instant, saw her blush disappear, giving the boy a smile and a glimpse of excited eyes. The boy didn't know how, but he was already seated, and in front of him was a table full of records and albums with different genres of music and rock bands, while the girl went back and forth. The girl was bringing the latest CDs along with some headphones and some drinks and snacks when she finally sat down next to the boy, visibly excited. Midoriya, wow, there are a lot of them, he said, picking up some discs and reading their descriptions. Jirou, there are just a few, which one do you want to listen to? I have music, punk, heavy rock, 80s, 40s. Midoriya, surprise me, he said with a smile, observing the beauty his girlfriend displayed when she spoke about what she liked. Jirou noticed her smile and with her eyes found what she wanted and then spoke. Jirou, this. The girl used her natural ear canals to listen to the song, accompanied by the boy who used headphones, and they started listening. The rhythm was soft and somewhat sweet. I had expected it to be heavier and more violent, imagining the girl's taste, but for the atmosphere I was in, it was quite appropriate. The boy turned to look at the rocker, noticing how she moved her head slightly from side to side, closing her eyes and then imitating her. The boy closed his eyes and began to rock his head. After a while, he felt a slight weight on him. He opened his eyes to see the girl, smiling, resting her head on his shoulder. Tenderly, the green-haired boy rested his head on the girl's and with his free arm hugged the rocker. One could swear to seeing a romantic atmosphere between these two without even knowing them, but anyone would see a bunch of green and purple hearts fluttering around them. The moment was sweet when a noise made them leave. Click. The purple-haired girl jumped when standing in front of them. Her mother was holding her phone with a smile. Mika, I knew I wasn't wrong. Your father won't believe me when I tell him. Jirou, don't tell dad. Mika, okay, I won't tell him anything. I only came because I forgot my keys. You guys just keep doing what you were doing. The woman left the establishment again, leaving the purple-haired girl somewhat annoyed and the boy noticeably embarrassed. The boy somewhat carefully and gently placed his hand on her shoulder. The girl went from looking annoyed at the entrance to the room to looking at the boy, noticeably embarrassed by his reaction. Midoriya, don't worry, I was scared too, to be honest. Jirou, sorry, my dad was strict about relationships, the girl complained while hiding her face between her knees. Midoriya, really? Jirou, no relationships until you turn 21 and I have to authorize it. Midoriya, wow, I thought your mom was going to be strict. Jirou, no, actually I think she adores you, size, and I told her I'd never have a boyfriend. Midoriya, I'm sorry to break that statement. Jirou, don't worry, said the girl as she approached the boy flirtatiously, I'm glad you broke it. With that said, the girl placed her hand on the boy's face and then began to give him tender kisses, settling herself on top of the boy's torso, forcing the boy to use his hands to hug the girl's slender waist. They were getting excited when the door opened again. Jirou, Arig, what happened now, ma? The girl said irritably, receiving no response. Jirou, what? The girl stopped dead in her tracks when she saw the figure standing in the doorway. The boy, for his part, hadn't seen this and only saw the girl's terrified face. With this, the boy turned his face towards the source of that look and could only feel a chill run through his body. At the door stood a blonde man whom the girl knew very well. She had known him since the day she was born. Jirou, Ddad, Kyotoku, Kyoka, who is that boy and why were you kissing him? Jirou, dad, calm down, let me explain what happened is. Kyotoku, what are you explaining to me? You take your hands off my little girl. Midoriya, Mr. Jirou, let me explain, I'm Izuku Midoriya and I'm. Kyotoku, I knew I wasn't wrong to buy this. The man said as he pulled out a pistol, menacing despite its harmless size and appearance. Jirou instantly stepped in front of the boy, preventing his father from making a bad decision. Jirou, dad, why do you have a gun? Kyotoku, Kyoka, move aside, this is between him and me. Jirou, no. Midoriya, sir, please put that down, you don't want a crooked shot to happen, the boy pleaded while trying to move the purple-haired girl away. Kyotoku, maybe I want a crooked shot like the shot you gave my daughter. Midoriya, sir, I swear, I have never done anything wrong. Both young men were nervous because they had actually done questionable things on their own, not to mention what happened a few moments ago if they hadn't been interrupted. The man simply began moving his finger on the trigger of the gun while the boys begged him to stop, while only murmurs could be heard. Kyotoku, Lord forgive me for I have sinned. The young men awaited the imminent sound of the cannon and the subsequent bullet when all they heard was a groan followed by faint pleas. Mika, Kyotoku, can you explain what you were going to do? Kyotoku, darling, it's not what you think, that boy. Mika, yes, Kyoka and her boyfriend were being a little affectionate and that's it. Kyotoku, Kyoka already has IE. The woman had hit her husband with her jack to get his attention back. Mika, honey, you've always told Kyoka that when she introduced us to our grandchildren you teach them to play, but if you don't let her have a boyfriend and if you threaten him, we'll never be grandparents. Can you apologize to him? The woman simply stopped pulling the man's hair and he fell before the young men. Kyotoku, I'm sorry I reacted that way. Jirou, dad, get up, it's weird seeing you on your knees like that. Kyotoku, sorry. The man looked at the green-haired boy who was still noticeably afraid of him. Kyotoku, I'll keep an eye on you, don't forget. Jirou, papa. The man simply picked up a guitar and sat down in a chair on the other side of the room, directly across from the sofa. The mother simply walked into the room, into what appeared to be a small kitchen with a stove, carrying a bag in her hand. The boy sat down next to the girl again and they resumed listening to music. Some of them wanted to calm down, but the father's murderous glare made them nervous. This feeling didn't last long when the girl's hand was placed on the boy's own hand, tenderly and with a touch of trust. The boy joined their fingers and leaned back more comfortably on the sofa. Noticing this, the girl smiled. In a short time, both young people forgot about those eyes watching them, but the man did not react. He simply watched them, but no longer with anger, but with surprise. He saw the green-haired boy calm and the girl smiling, the complete opposite of what he had seen for years. Remembering times when the girl returned from school and he greeted her with a hug, but noticing how she was looking at the floor sadly, almost on the verge of tears. Now he saw his smiling little girl next to a boy she loved. When he began to suspect anything, the girl moved and the father witnessed her lying down on the boy's chest and he tenderly embraced her. The man seemed to be looking back to the past, when on that same sofa he and his wife began their courtship. The blonde figure seemed to have had a weight lifted from his shoulders and could now only smile more calmly. The woman only turned to look at the man who seemed more cooperative and who, with his guitar in hand, began to play a calm and serene melody. The woman quickly looked at the young people and met that sight, and instantly the woman already knew why, or rather what her husband had remembered. In his own words, it was the best day of his life. A little while later, the woman spoke. Mika, the food is ready. Upon hearing this, the blonde man stood up, leaving his guitar beside his chair and addressed the young people in front of him. Kyotoku, hey. The man approached, simply scratching his neck. Midoriya, do you want to eat with us? He said, embarrassed after interrupting the couple, but even more so because of their previous reaction a little while ago. The green-haired boy, previously nervous, was surprised by the man's invitation, as was the girl, who was surprised to hear her father so calm in front of them, but they accepted. The young people sat down at the table where the man was already sitting, looking everywhere except at the young people. This changed when the housewife placed a pot of stew on the table. Mika, enjoy your meal. All there. The green-haired boy took a bite of Kyoka's mother's stew, and boy did he expect it to taste so wonderful. Midoriya, it's really good. Mika, I'm glad you like it, it's one of Kyoka's favorites. Kyotoku, he has good taste, tell me. The green-haired boy had to stop his personal culinary journey when the man spoke, taking his full attention. Midoriya, yai sir. Kyotoku, how did you two get started? The in-laws. The green-haired boy expected to see the man with a cold stare, analyzing every inch from the soles of his shoes to the last strand of his hair, but it wasn't like that. The man's gaze was calm and to a certain extent understanding. Midoriya, well, we've been dating for 2 months. Jirou, almost 3. Mika, how cute. Kyotoku, well, where have they gone now? Midoriya, well, we've been to karaoke, seen movies, and gone to the mall. Kyotoku, okay, what are your tastes? Midoriya, oh well, I like watching movies and series with Kyoka-chan. I like listening to her music. Kyotoku, do you know how to play any instruments? Kyoka, dad. Midoriya, to be honest, I'm still learning. Kyoka, really? Why didn't you tell me? The girl said, approaching the boy who felt somewhat embarrassed. Midoriya, WL, it was more of a minor accident, he said, embarrassed. Days ago. The green-haired boy was in the audio music room, awkwardly holding an electric guitar while trying to formulate even a single note. He spent about 2 minutes like that when a voice coming in made him stop. Present mic, stop, stop, stop. Kid, you're gonna kill someone with those notes, heavens. Midoriya, Yamade-sensei, I'm sorry. Present mic, what were you trying to do, kid? Midoriya, well, I have a friend who loves music, and she's been looking for someone to play music with, and I. Present mic, pause IT. I'll help you, the man said, snapping his fingers. Midoriya, really, he said, smiling. Present mic, of course, if Kyoka's boyfriend wants to learn music, I can't refuse as a good tutor. Midoriya, wait, how do you know that? Present mic, easy, nobody in this school besides me loves music as much as that dear listener. And nobody decides to learn something that never interested them unless it's out of love, he said, nudging her with his elbow. Midoriya, WLI. Present mic, so take that guitar, kid, because from now on, Bessie will be like your lover. Midoriya, but I wouldn't want to deceive Jirausen-sensei. The blonde man broke out in a sweat at the boy's words. Present mic, it'll be harder than I thought. No. There was a blonde guy and a purple-haired girl dying of laughter at the anecdote, mostly because of the last part of the story. Kyotoku, ha-ha-ha-ha, oh god, my belly, ha-ha-ha. Midoriya, Kyoka, ha-ha-ha, love, sometimes you're so innocent, ha-ha-ha, that's why I love you. The boy didn't know how to feel. On one hand, he liked the way the girl was talking to him. On the other hand, he didn't know what she had said that made them laugh. And on yet another, he was hungry. After both parents and daughter calmed down, they resumed eating. This time the atmosphere was different, you could feel the joy in the air. Mika, and how's school going? Midoriya/Kyoka, great. Both young people were nervous, because they didn't really know who they had asked, but there was only one thought in the woman's head which she expressed. Mika, they even answer at the same time, how cute. Kyotoku, nothing's too complicated for them, right? Kyoka, actually no, and what little I don't understand I ask Izuku-kun. Kyotoku, I hope you're very clever, boys. Midoriya, I. Kyoka, he's the 4th best in the class, only below Yaomomo, Ida, and Bakugo. Now that I think about it, I don't know how he's actually 3rd. Kyotoku, he must be very clever then, he said, bringing a mouthful of the stew to his mouth. Kyoka, well, actually. Midoriya, she's a loud Muslim woman. Upon hearing this statement, the purply-haired woman almost spat out her stew at the casualness of the insult, because in reality it was the perfect definition. Mika, ha-ha-ha-ha, then thank God you didn't notice him. Kyoka, of course not, I prefer to be with this tender specimen of nature, the girl said, caressing the boy's cheek. Mika, oh. Kyotoku, and have you played anything yet, boy? Midoriya, well, just simple notes and the occasional song. Kyotoku, well, said the man, getting up from the table, follow me. The boy obeyed and followed the man to the other side of the store, which contained instruments of all kinds. Kyotoku, play something without shame. The boy carefully examined the instruments until he saw an electric guitar. He carefully arranged the instrument and left with the father, who was carrying a regular guitar. Mika, are the guitarists going to play something for us? Kyotoku, I want to see how much he learned from that teacher. Midoriya, okay. Kyotoku, okay, I'll start. As he finished singing and playing his guitar, applause was heard in the room, coming from his wife Kyoka and the green-haired boy, who were applauding the man's masterful song, with Midoriya passionately praising the man's musical talent. Midoriya, that was great, I hope I can play like that someday. Kyotoku, well, that's a lot of well-deserved praise, but it's your turn, young man. Come on, show us what you've learned. Midoriya took a breath and began to play the guitar, which was connected to a sound system that the girl brought closer, and then he sat down next to his parents. The nervous boy took a breath, as it was the first time he would play in front of someone other than a tutor. The girl saw this and, to reassure the boy, gave him a smile and a thumbs up. With this kind gesture, the boy gathered all his confidence and acted. When he finished playing, the boy heard nothing, so he thought he had made a fool of himself, but when he opened his eyes, he could only see Kyoka with her hands covering her mouth with a surprised face, and her mother Mika stroking her husband's hair, who was sobbing while holding a handkerchief that dried his tears. Midoriya, is something wrong? Kyotoku, sobs, my grandchildren will know about good music, cries harder. With this statement, the green-haired boy and the purple-haired girl felt embarrassed, only for the girl's attitude to quickly change as she approached the boy. Kyoka, I'm angry with you. Midoriya AASW. Kyoka, you were planning to hide such a great talent from me for how long? Midoriya, WL, it was a surprise. Kyoka, I see you replaced me with our teacher, go away. I don't love you anymore, the girl said dramatically and with a humorous tone. The boy couldn't stand her expressions and simply hugged the girl, who did the same, only applying a little more force. Taking advantage of the situation, the mother grabbed her phone and was about to take pictures when her husband, who was barely holding back tears, snatched it away. The woman thought he was going to get angry, but it was he who took the photograph to witness it for a few seconds. Kyotoku, aw thui look so cute, cries intensely. Shortly after chatting and practicing with other instruments, the couple had to leave the place as the green-haired man had an errand to run. Midoriya, thank you so much for everything, it was a pleasure meeting you all. Mika, the pleasure is all ours. Come back here anytime to Kyotoku. I'd love to tell you more about instruments, he's obsessed with the subject. Kyoka, dad would love to do a duet with Izuku, it's always been his dream to have a band. Kyotoku, I considered doing a duet with Kyoka. But now with a boyfriend this good at music, I can create my band, smiling sound, said the blonde boy, bringing his hands to his forehead, imagining the bad title. Midoriya, it will be a pleasure to see you whenever I can. Kyoka, goodbye moms, goodbye dads. The boys were calmly walking out of the store when a scream greatly embarrassed them. Kyotoku, take good care of yourselves. Mika, yes, I don't want to be a grandmother yet. Both young men almost fell to the ground were it not for someone else who leaned on them. Before they could even respond, the adults went inside the store, leaving the embarrassed boys outside. Midoriya, WL, I don't think that's a problem, and no, we haven't thought that far ahead. The boy said with an attempt at laughter, but the girl just stared at the boy straight ahead. The green-haired boy noticed this and simply asked. Midoriya, yes. The mere question made the girl start remembering all the nights she wondered, how many children would I want? What would our children look like? What would we name them? Would they look more like Izuku or like me? All these questions and more like them made the girl start to blush at the questioning, especially regarding what would come with the topic of having children, with the sexual aspect being what embarrassed her the most. Kyoka, of course not. Midoriya SSO, why did you only reply now? Kyoka. The girl turned to look at her broccoli and saw that they were in front of an apartment building, specifically Izuku's mother's apartment. Looking at the broccoli, she saw that it was blushing from the delayed response. Kyoka, how much time has passed? Midoriya, half an hour. The most embarrassed girl simply covered her face, avoiding public shame. Kyoka, and what did we come here for? Midoriya, well, my mom wanted me to bring some of my things to the dorm at UA. She says I forgot them the last time I came. Kyoka, wait, your parents are here, said the purple-haired girl, who was trying to fix her clothes as best she could, trying to look more presentable. Midoriya, just my mom, dad, it's a long story. Kyoka, oh rights. The girl recognized that tone of voice. It was the one the boy used to make himself seem okay when something wasn't right. The green-haired boy rang the doorbell and heard hurried footsteps approaching where they were. Midoriya, you'll like my mom, she's someone with classic customs. Kyoka, the girl said, seeing the boy's smile. They both witnessed the door in front of them open, revealing a somewhat chubby woman standing before them. Inko, Izuoka. The woman quickly hugged her son, ignoring for a few seconds the visitor who was with him. Midoriya, hi moms. Inko, how have you been? Oh, you brought a visitor. The woman saw the purple-haired girl who was analyzing the mother and the green-haired boy himself, observing the resemblance the broccoli had to his mother, until she noticed how she approached her and seemed strangely nervous about it. Kyoka, hello, I'm Kyoka Jirou, my pleasure. Inko, the pleasure is all mine. The last time Izuku brought friends home was 12 years ago, and now he brings a cute young lady. Kyoka, 12 years old. Midoriya, mom's keeping the count. Inko, come in, let me serve you some tea. Both young people passed by, with Kyoka now playing the role of nervous, as the woman seemed to grasp details quickly. Inko, Izuku, did you really go out wearing that shirt? The woman said with a strange expression, as she was wearing an Almight t-shirt, its distinctive colors, with blue pants and its distinctive red. The girl's insecurity about her clothes went on sabbatical when the woman commented. Inko, even your friend looked beautiful and you look like this. I need to give you clothes lessons, son. Kyoka, hee, thank you, Mrs. Midoriya. Inko, oh please just call me Inko, the woman said, smiling. The woman brought them the tea she had prepared, and they sat down at the table. Midoriya, and how have you been? Inko, you know it's a bit of a grind, but I'm not complaining. How's school going? Has anything interesting happened? Kyoka, is she going to tell him about us? It's a bit soon, isn't it? What? Midoriya, well, I've trained with All Might in my free time and made some friends. Inko, what a joy, son. Midoriya, and something else. Inko, Midoriya, oh well, you see, Mom, Kyoka and I. Kyoka/Midoriya were dating. The woman simply opened her eyes as wide as she could and smiled, disregarding the reaction the boy expected, as he knew his mother was naturally prone to tears, but she said nothing. Inko, I'm very happy for you but not surprised since I prayed a lot for this day. Midoriya, but God had nothing to do with it. This happened because when I was kissing another woman, I only wanted to be with Kyoka. Kyoka, what? Inko, more than one girl noticed you, while I should have prayed hard. The boy felt the purple-haired girl looking at him with deadly eyes before laughter overcame him, letting the girl know it was a joke. Midoriya, hahaha, I'm just playing around. Kyoka began to lightly tap the boy's shoulder who wasn't protecting himself. Kyoka, don't play those jokes on me, the girl said, clapping her hands with each sentence, making the boy laugh even more. Midoriya, how do you think anyone would notice me? Kyoka, I noticed you. Midoriya, and I'm grateful, the sweet boy said. Kyoka, mmmmhhhh, don't say such nice things. Otherwise I can't stay mad at you and I'll feel guilty. The green-haired woman laughed at the chemistry between the two, bringing her hand to her mouth to stifle her laughter. Inko, I think that, as a good mother, I should show you Izuku's embarrassing baby photos. What? Midoriya, oh no. Kyoka, yes. Several minutes passed, while Inko showed him the entire catalog of photographs of little Izuku Midoriya dressed as All Might and pretending to fly. Inko, here's his serious face, here's his intellectual face. This one's a real head-scratcher. Kyoka, meanwhile, used her phone to take photos for the album as a keepsake. Midoriya, mom, stop it please. Kyoka, what time is it? Ayyyy. Midoriya, oh mom, we have to go or Mr. Aizawa will make us clean the bathrooms all month. Inko, okay, I hope you can visit me another day, it was nice meeting you, little one. Kyoka, likewise, I hope I can see the rest of the photographs next time. Inko, I'll take all the photographs out of the memory box. Midoriya, okay mom, goodbyes. The green-haired boy and the purple-haired girl left the apartment, and as fast as they could, they ran back to UA. The girl was falling behind because running really wasn't her thing. Midoriya, are you okay? Kyoka, if inhales I just sighs need to take a breath, inhales I'll be fine. The girl was about to get up when she felt like she was floating. When she looked up, she saw that the boy was carrying her in his arms and starting to run. The purple-haired girl had to hold onto his neck to avoid feeling like she was going to fall, finding it both romantic and embarrassing, but she liked it. This meant they took much less time to get to school and later to the dormitories. The boy was entering the dormitories and looked around to see if anyone was there, resulting in a resounding no. The boy and the purple-haired girl walked past and headed to the kitchen, looking for something to eat before going to their rooms. Kyoka, sighs, what a day. Midoriya, yes, what would you like for dinner, beautiful? Kyoka, are there any mini pizzas still available? Midoriya, I don't think so, there's apple pie, birthday cake, chocolates, pancakes. Aizawa, don't touch my juice boxes. This voice startled both young men, and they looked to where the voice was coming from, seeing their sensei sitting on the living room sofa in his sleeping cocoon. They watched him frightened, but only saw him go back to sleep. Aizawa, when you leave, turn off the lights and don't make any noise. The young people expected a reprimand, but they were fine with the request. The boy heated up some pancakes and the girl a piece of pie, and they left. Kyoka, good evening, Izuku-kun. Midoriya, good evening, Kyoka-chan. A battle of the bands. The weeks continued at UA, with the occasional instance of Minta trying to sneak into the girls' bathroom and getting beaten up by the girls and later by the boys, but nothing serious. At least until one ordinary Wednesday. Aizawa, and finally you must submit a report on how the Hero Atomic's cold reactor works by Friday. Everyone was taking notes in their notebooks when a green-haired boy was hit on the head by a small piece of paper, which landed right in front of their eyes. Midoriya looked around, seeing the purple-haired girl moving her connector in a greeting gesture. The boy understood and opened the paper. Jirou, how's my favorite broccoli doing? 3. The boy smiled at the little note and wrote something underneath it, then threw it to the girl who caught it and immediately opened it to read it. Midoriya, it depends how's my rock star doing? 3. The girl chuckled softly at how cheesy the boy was being with her and how she was showing that same sweet side to him. The girl was about to write on the paper when a kick on the door startled them all. Present Mike, how is everyone? The hero shouted while gesturing to the boys, receiving only a deathly silence. Shota, you're really turning them into you. I see the same looks on their faces and even your lack of a sense of humor. Aizawa, so you can see that they really are my offspring. Present Mike, you're what? Aizawa, what do you need, Mike? Present Mike, oh sure, cough cough, attention everyone. Principal Nezu approved my proposal to hold a battle of the bands next month. Upon hearing this, some students cheered the news, while Kyoka seemed to smile like a little girl, raising her connectors in the air and giving a smile they had rarely seen. Present Mike, you'll have my classes to rehearse and to choose the song you want to perform in the contest. You should also come with makeup and costumes. Don't forget rock and roll. That's all, Shota. Thanks, Shota. The hero looked around for his friend when he noticed that he was already slumped over his desk asleep with a balloon sticking out of his nose. Present Mike, you crazy bastard, you were already asleep and you were about to finish class. The hero approached a little and carefully gave his friend's boot a small kick, then instantly ran away. Aizawa stood up at this movement, noticing that his old friend had already left the classroom. Aizawa, well yawn, you heard, form teams, choose a song and let me sleep. Listening to their sensei, the boys were led by Iida to the theater where all eyes were on Kyoka or Kaminari. Lita, alright, we listen to Present Mike, we have to choose a song and compete against Class B. Does anyone have any suggestions for what song we can play? Said the delegate, moving his arms in his characteristic way. Kaminari, I thought of something metal. Girls, nah. The girls said in unison, embarrassing the boy. Zero, what genre does action music fall under? Kirishima, or something masculine? Kyoka, how can we use an action song if there isn't going to be much action during its presentation? Momo, how about some opera? Todoroki, I think Bakugo could be the Viking woman, he already has the hair and the voice, the boy said honestly and innocently. Bakugo, what did you say, idiot? Todoroki, sounds exactly the same. Kyoka, unfortunately we don't have harps and that's something Class B could surpass us in. The boys were still thinking about what to play when the green-haired boy noticed a microphone behind him. He approached it, was seen by the purple-haired girl, and then began to sing. Ghost Mary on a Cross. The boy began to sing the beginning of a song, which the girl knew well, and was about to approach the drums to accompany her boyfriend. But a gray-haired boy with a frown arrived first and started playing the drums and cymbals. With that covered, the girl hurried to grab a guitar and begin to play. Takami found a piano and with the help of Dark Shadow they got up to speed. Some, like Uraraka and Aoyama, were in charge of the lighting and making it look great. There were things that still needed to be practiced, such as timing and the roles of others in the band. Everyone followed Kyoka's orders, which were relayed by Iida, but a voice in the room at the end made them pause their commands. Monoma, well, the pathetic Class A practicing their humiliating defeat in front of us. The blonde boy from B said, as he was followed by the rest of his class with a look tired of his airs of grandeur. Bakugo, the only thing we're going to practice is how we're going to buck you up the ass. He said with an arrogant smile, without thinking about what he said. The blonde boy from B changed his expression from one of superiority and mockery to one of disgust and doubt, the same face being put on by classes A and B, except for a gray-haired boy and strangely enough a redhead. Midoriya, it's kick your butt, Kakin. Bakugo, and what did I say, nerd? Monoma, cough cough, after strange statements, I have to ask you to stop what you're doing and let the teachers do their job. Bakugo, you'll have to get me down from here if you want me to do what you say, Blondie. Monoma, is that a pleasant arg? He couldn't finish speaking when the president of B, Itsuka Kendo, punched the boy in the neck, knocking him down instantly. Kendo-san, I'm getting tired of this. Setsuna, it used to be more fun, now it's just annoying, said the puzzled girl as she floated closer to the rest of Class A. Hey, we heard you rehearsing, whose melodious voices did we hear? Momo, It was Midoriya-kun and Kyoka-chan. They were singing the song we're going to perform in the Battle of the Bands the president happily shared. Tetsu, that's great and they do it brilliantly. Setsuna, yes, she said in a suspicious tone as she approached the green-haired boy. Tell me, friend, wouldn't you like to teach me to sing later? I promise you'd like to hear me sing, heh. The green-haired boy took steps backward until he reached the edge before avoiding falling, while Class A clearly saw this insinuation, and even more so with an icy tone, knowing that Midoriya was already with Kyoka. Remembering this, they all looked at the purple-haired girl who was holding a can of soda with a look that only screamed, "You're good and dead." The girl took a sip of her soda and, taking a breath, approached the two green-haired individuals to touch the shoulder of the floating puzzle girl, who still looked at her with her characteristic smile. Setsuna, hee really? Kyoka, excuse me, can I talk to my boyfriend? She said with her eyes almost closed. This request left the girl speechless, and as she processed everything, she blushed until she realized the embarrassment she had caused in front of everyone. Setsuna, I'm sorry. She shouted at the top of her lungs, then in a disarming manner went behind her orange-haired friend while covering her face in embarrassment. The purple-haired girl took his hand and led him to the back of the stage, while the boy, his face redder than his body could bear, turned to look at his friends, aware of the revelation he had let slip for everyone to hear. Kyoka, are you okay? Midoriya, yais, it's just I'm not good at talking to other women, he said, fidgeting with his fingers. Kyoka sighs, I know, what am I going to do with you? Midoriya, Kyoka, I think the most reasonable thing to do and to prevent other girls from noticing my handsome boyfriend and throwing themselves at you like a piece of meat would be to reveal our relationship to everyone. Are you okay with that? Midoriya, yes. I mean yes, I agree with you. Kyoka, okay, let's go. She leans in to kiss his lips. We have to hand the stage over to the other guys. The girl said, offering her hand to the green-haired boy, who with a smile took it to follow her. Meanwhile, at the front of the stage, classes A and B were glued to the folding curtain to hear the gossip about this couple, but when they heard that they were coming back, everyone acted as naturally as their heads told them. You look great. Kyoka okay inhales and exhales, yes, Izuku and I are dating. To the couple's surprise, their class showed no surprise whatsoever, which began to cause them some fear. But it was the fear that intensified when Lita spoke at the top of her lungs. Lita, what? His scream was so spontaneous, and his lack of movement only made him look terrifying, frightening not only the couple, but the students from classes A and B around them. I can't believe it. I mean, you guys, wow, who would have thought? This is amazing. The class president said, waving his hands in the air. Some understood that he wanted to act surprised and not embarrass his friends, but it only ended in a series of words that tried to simulate surprise, and a very, very bad one. Momo, Kyoka-chan, why didn't you tell me anything? Mina, not even I could figure it out. Todoroki, I already knew that. Toru, me too, god, they're such bad actors. Minta, I don't know how you chose the one with the fewest attributes. This earned him 3 blows to the back of the neck from Mina, Sato, and Kendo, leaving the boy in pain. Monoma, cough, well, if this revelation is over, let the real experts get to work. The students from Class A left the stage, giving the students from Class B free space to practice. Bakugo, hehe, don't push yourself too hard, it won't work the same way, hahaha. The Class B band began, with Kendo starting to play the instrument, setting the tempo for Monoma. Next, they watched as Tetsu began to play the drums, while Kurwaro moved the records in the player, giving them that distinctive rewind sound. The boys from both A and B were even more surprised to see how Monoma could control his voice, sounding soft at times, but turning it upside down in the high notes. At the end, the classmates from Class B applauded their friend's performance, with Midoriya even joining in the ovation. Kyoka, hey. Midoriya, what? I have to admit, he did great, he replied, still applauding that performance. Kyoka, that's right, she said, beginning to clap in agreement. Monoma, even their vocalists admit our superiority. Yui, I think it's more about kindness, said the raven-haired girl from Class B. Honuki, anyway, this will be a fun competition, you guys are great. Seiro, you too. Lita, okay, Class A, we need to let Class B practice, then it will be our turn. The young people sat to watch Class B perform, while Midoriya jotted down ways they could improve their own performance in his notebook. All of this was observed and attempted to be helped by the purple-haired girl, who watched with a smile as the boy murmured and wrote while also contributing her own ideas. Meanwhile, in the distance, the raven-haired girl watched her friend, now more expressive with the green-haired boy, unlike before when she had forced herself not to get too close to him so as not to arouse suspicion. Mina, oh, they look so cute, said the girl with black and yellow eyes who shook the raven-haired girl with joy. Toru, they look super cute. Tsuyu, Kyoka seems happier now that she confessed, Kiro. Momo, girls, lower your voices or Kyoka will hear us, said the president, reminding her friends of the rocker's hearing. Mina, oh that's right, let's get something to drink. The girls left the theater to find their own way, while the boys couldn't be happier for their green curly-haired friend. The minutes passed and the class president joined his green-haired friend and the rocker girl, not intending to bother them but because he needed to know what materials they needed to continue working on their project. Lita, well, what do you need for the play? Kyoka, well, we have the instruments, but we need some things for the costumes. Lita took a sheet of paper and a pencil from her bag, while leaning against a table. Lita, list them. Kyoka, okay, we need black and white makeup, and some silver masks in this style. Kyoka, and if you get the uniforms in black too, you'd be doing me a favor. Takayami, Dark Shadow, and I will take care of that. Midoriya, really Takayami-kun. Dark Shadow, Fumikage-kun has a discount card for black clothing, let's see if we can get it there. The boy with the raven's face covered the mouth of his shadowy symbiote and only coughed to change the subject. Takayami, cough cough, yes, I'll take care of it. Todoroki, I can help with the expenses. Midoriya, Todoroki-kun, are you really going to use your own money? I wouldn't want you to spend your money, he said anxiously. Todoroki, you stay calm, I'm nervous. Let Godfather Shoto take care of everything. Midoriya/Kyoka, did he really already proclaim himself Godfather? Meanwhile, far back behind the stage, some girls from Class B could see the group from Class A gathered together discussing their own play. Komori, what are they planning to do? The little brunette asked her religious friend. Ibara, I'm not sure, but I can see a glow surrounding their bodies. It's definitely something powerful. Manga, isn't that the blonde classmate who's always glowing? Ibara, oh yes. The young people stopped talking when the blonde man with airs of grandeur interrupted them. Monoma, come on everyone, I need you to do something. The class watched attentively as the boy seemed to already have a plan in mind. Monoma, here you go, said the hero with the gift of imitation as he extended his hand with a wad of bills. Kodai, wow Monoma, are you really going to ignore Class A during their essay? Monoma, PFFF, who said that? No, that money is for them to follow the pathetic Class A and see what they plan to do. That way it will be easier to sabotage them or see what we can improve where they're failing. Sabotage. A small brunette girl watched from afar as a green-haired boy and a purple-haired girl walked down the street, apparently chatting about relationship stuff, which she found annoying to hear not because of the topic itself, but because of the reason she had to listen to them. Shishida, hey, why are we following them? Komori, I don't know, Monoma says we have to find out what they'll do and savor it. Shishida, personally, this doesn't bring me satisfaction, why are we here? Hours ago. Monoma, please, Komori-chan, that's all I ask. Komori, no Monoma, it's just sabotaging the pathetic class, what's wrong with that? Komori, that's literally bad. Monoma, sighs, well, I tried, the blonde said as he dramatically walked away from the place, slowly moving further away from the brunette. Komori, finally. Monoma, but now I don't know how I'll be able to hide the fact that the other day you were kissing a photograph you secretly took of Kurawaro. The girl, frustrated by what her classmate was saying, felt a chill at those words because she secretly liked this boy and had thought that no one knew she had taken that photograph. Komori, you wouldn't be able to. Monoma, I don't know, maybe if by some miracle Class A beats us, I might blurt it out in a frenzy of gossip without thinking, I'm just saying. Komori, just this once. Monoma, hhha, thanks Komori, don't worry, I won't tell anyone. No. Komori, damn monomkuns. What? Shishida, are you okay? Komori, yes, I just remembered something stupid. Shishida, may I ask why I am here? Komori, because Yui says, Komori, you're too small and you might get kidnapped, go to the older brother in the class, and you're the older brother in the class, look, put on a mean face. The beast boy didn't make a gesture, but he still received a response. Komori, see. Shishida, but I didn't do anything. The duo from Class B had to hide when, at this scream, the purple-haired girl turned her head, followed by the green-haired boy who were looking for the reason for that commotion. Midoriya, is something wrong, Kyoka? Kyoka, not only I thought I heard some screams. Midoriya, they must have just been kids. With this excuse accepted, the purple-haired girl took the freckled boy's hand again and rested her head on his shoulder to continue on her way. Komori, sighs, that was close. If they find out we followed them, they'll interrogate us and discover why we came. Shishida, so, Komori, let's go. The duo followed the boys to a costume shop, where from the outside they could see the boys inspecting fabrics, joking around with some of them, and apparently playing. Midoriya, ha, look, this one looks like Takami's cousin, the boy said, pointing at a plague doctor's mask. Kyoka, hey. Midoriya, sorry, I went a little overboard. Kyoka, don't talk about Takami's cousin like that. The girl said, playing along with her boyfriend, who could only burst out laughing at that witty remark. Midoriya hey Kaiochin the boy called out, getting into a sleeping bag in the tent and drawing dark circles under his eyes with a marker I like kittens. Everyone has an exam, let me sleep snores. The girl could barely control herself from laughing at the boy's portrayal of her teacher. Kyoka HHH beautiful 1010 HHH. The young people only managed to control themselves when a guard stared at them, embarrassing the green-haired boy for his somewhat childish manner and bringing a smile to the girl's face, which led them to search more seriously for what they were looking for, at least for the green-haired boy, when the girl looked at him with an attempt to hide a smile. Kyoka how serious haha. This brought a faint smile back to the boy's face, seeing one of the reasons why his days were more beautiful. Shishida wow having a partner makes you do stupid things. Komari yais it seems so but they look cute. This was what the girl was thinking, as she watched the green-haired boy try on a mask and discreetly so that no one would see them use the whip to hang upside down and face the rocker, who with a mischievous look lifted half of it to plant a kiss on his lips, making the boy close his eyes while the girl held his face to kiss him for longer. She was wondering what it would be like to kiss the boy she liked and go out to have fun, when a tap on the shoulder snapped her out of her thoughts. Shishida they're leaving, let's go, we have to follow them. Komari off of course. With each store they followed the couple to, she felt worse and worse about sabotaging the damn kids. Their spying was halted when the couple, just meters away from them, expressed, Kyoka I'm hungry. Midoriya what do you think about us taking a slight detour and grabbing something to eat? Kyoka laughs of course. The boy put his arm around the girl and they walked together, so close they could smell each other's perfume, which only made them closer, something the two of them instantly understood. Shishida / Komari, this is going to take a while. And their assumption was not wrong, when after walking 3 blocks, they saw the couple enter a commercial district and go into various food stalls. Crepes, ice cream, mochi, traditional sweets, and soft drinks were just a few of the many things they bought and shared affectionately, like a typical couple in love. At one point the girl was eating a crepe when her cheek got stained with the filling. Midoriya, I'll help you. The boy said this as he approached, kissed her, and removed the food stain from her face, which made her feel a little embarrassed since they were in a public place, making the green-haired boy laugh. Midoriya, don't worry, no one saw us anyway. Komari, they're so sweet. Shishida no, I can't do this to them. The two chestnut-tired men looked at each other for a few seconds to agree on something. Komari / Shishida, let's go. Both students from B were walking away from the place, the brunette wondering what she could do to keep Monoma from exposing her secret, while the hairy aspiring hero was thinking about how to keep the blonde from showing the whole class the time he got his hair cut, and was left without facial hair for a month. Both young men were thinking about how to approach their cases when they saw a familiar figure enter the last store they had visited with the couple. Upon closer inspection, they noticed it was the same blonde man who had forced them to spy on the couple. Shishida, what's Monoma doing here? Komari, I don't know. Looking a little closer, they could see how the objects that the young people had set aside minutes before were being picked up by the blonde boy from their class and taken away. They left the corner where they were standing to go and confront their companion. He was walking with the bag of products when a touch on his shoulder made him turn his head, finding himself face to face with both students. Monoma, oh it's you guys, don't worry, let's just say my lips are sealed. Shishida, we didn't come for that. Komari, we want to know what are you doing here? Monoma, well that's simple, haven't you heard the saying, if you want something done right, do it yourself. That's what I'm doing. Komari, then why did you tell us to come here? Monoma, easy, I needed an alibi. If those two saw me alone, they'd know I was planning something, but if they saw me with 2 other people, they'd think we came to buy things. Shishida, of course, hiding from 2 people wouldn't raise any red flags. Monoma, they would assume so but only if they knew you. But unlike the rest of the class, those pathetic, foolish A's don't know you that well, so if they saw your faces, they'd think you hated them. The revelation left him speechless. They had served as bait in the boys' plan and had fulfilled their roles. Monoma, like I said, don't worry, your secrets are safe. See you at the building. So the blonde guy left, going into another store and coming out with more bags than before, leaving the brunettes behind. Shishida, Komari-san, what have we done? Komari, no, I'm not sure. Weeks later, a purply-haired girl was pacing in circles in her room, trying to figure out where else to get the materials she had bought earlier with the green-haired boy. Well, earlier that same day she had gone to pick them up accompanied by Tsuyu and Uraraka, but what a surprise it was when. Kyoka, what do you mean by not having them? Saleswoman, I'm sorry, but on the same day you set them aside, a boy came to pick them up. Tsuyu, was anyone else with you? Kiro. Uraraka, I thought Deku-kun was coming with you. Kyoka, that's right, but he and I went for other things and we didn't pick anything up. Salesperson, he was a young blonde man, he said he was from you, he even showed me his UA ID to ask for the discount. Tsuyu / Uraraka, blonde. Kyoka, don't you have anything more similar to what I asked for? Saleswoman, I'm afraid not small. The woman's fearful expression was nothing compared to the girl's rage, who could only swear that if she found out which idiot had taken her things, she would leave his body convulsing from the sonic shockwave she would unleash. The green-haired amphibian and the brunette followed their friend to UA while they thought about where to get things. The green-haired boy was in the common room, playing a video game along with Kaminari, Bakugo, and Aoyama, who was just looking at himself in a mirror. They were playing peacefully when a kick on the door startled them all. Bakugo, who the hell is making so much noise? The broccoli looked up, finding his beloved punk rocker, but her gaze didn't betray his classic state of perpetual boredom. She barely glanced at Kaminari's blonde hair with a hint of black, raised her headphones menacingly, and walked away hurriedly. Kaminari, and here comes ATR. The girl thrust her connectors into the blonde boy's eyes with such force that when she removed them, he was overcome with pain and collapsed to the ground in agony. Midoriya, KKYOCHAN. Lita, what is all this noise? The girl's friends who were with her were just making various gestures to her to stay out of the chaos. Lita was going to ignore it when, upon seeing the rocker girl, she gave him a look that could only be compared to that of a beast. He even preferred to see Bakugo's crazy and anarchic side than to see an angry girl. And with this display of anger, he began to take small steps towards the stairs, knowing that he could only do something with Shoji and Sato by his side, and even then he would receive a beating. Bakugo, what did they do to your crazy nerd now? The blonde said as he brought a potato chip to his mouth when, just like his Pikachu, he received blows to the throat, taking away his air and making him swallow the slice of potato and choke. The green-haired boy was afraid. It was one thing to do those things to Kaminari since he regularly deserved it, but this was the first time he had seen Kyoka punish Bakugo, and he was filled with unparalleled fear. Aoyama, Messiah Midoriya, do you know what's going on? Turning his head, he saw that even Aoyama lowered his smile slightly to take in the scene. Midoriya, honestly, I don't. And abruptly, the last blonde in the room was attacked, struck with the connectors above his ears, draining the soul from the poor boy. He looked ahead and could only see a face that the boy could read more clearly: frustration. The girl let out a squeal of annoyance as she sat down next to the green-haired boy and squeezed her knees together. Midoriya, what happened? The girl took Broccoli's hand and they headed for the stairs. Upon entering, they could see how the class president became frightened and stepped aside, only to then go into the room and finally see what had happened. The girl didn't say a word to the boy, who just followed her without protest. Finally, when they arrived at her room, the purple-haired girl left him sitting on his mattress and went back to lock the door. The boy didn't understand anything and decided to ask a quick, simple question. Midoriya, so? The girl took a breath, trying to calm down and not sound aggressive toward the innocent Broccoli. Kyoka, we lost the changing room. The boy, who had been scared the whole time, opened his eyes wide upon hearing this. Midoriya, what? Kyoka, I don't know, the saleswoman said someone took them away the same day we reserved them. Midoriya, but the concert is in 2 days, where are we going to get our things? Kyoka, I don't know. The girl, who had been pacing in circles, sat down next to the green-haired boy, still moving her leg up and down, trying to calm her nerves and find a way to solve the problem. His mind was racing with thousands of thoughts in that short period of time. Kyoka, what can we do? We have to present the concert in 2 days and we don't have any materials. We can't buy anything else. It would completely crash with the theme, and we can't get the materials anywhere else. Izuoka and I spent the whole afternoon looking for those things. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What? The purple-haired girl brought her hands to her head in despair, and in a moment she felt the boy's arm gently place itself on her shoulder, causing her train of thought to gradually slow down. Midoriya, hey, it's okay, we can fix this, the boy said with a forced smile. Kyoka sighs, I tried to find a solution, but I can't think of anything that could help us. The boy thought about what they could do when his eyes had a slight glimmer that indicated he already had an idea. Kyoka, what? Midoriya, I heard somewhere that if there's something you can't fix, make it your focus. Kyoka, yais, I don't understand what you mean. Midoriya, just trust me, please. Overcoming. The green-haired boy was dictating some things they needed to Momo, while Kyoka covered his eyes so he wouldn't see the raven-haired girl creating what she asked for from her chest. The green-haired boy had neither the eyes nor the interest to see the class vice president since he only had eyes for Kyoka, but he found it funny how she also avoided any glance that had to do with another girl. Momo, are you sure these models are good? I could make them better. Kyoka, no, don't worry, Yao Momo, they're fine like this, and could you know? The raven-haired woman zipped up her shirt and handed the couple the items they had requested. The class representative was dismayed. He had expected the quality of the props to be better, as the masks and some of the clothing were easily torn. Lita, guys, I don't want to judge your ideas, but don't you think props are, how to put it? Bakugo, crap, they're crap. Midoriya, Ka-chan, we will explain everything to you alone. Bakugo, you're not going to explain anything to me, nerd. What the hell is wrong with you getting these things of junk? The boy was about to apologize when he felt an arm on his shoulder, and when he turned around, he only saw the purple-haired girl with a frown on her face before she pulled him behind her. Kyoka, hey idiot. Will you lower your blonde screaming by 3 lines and stop talking to Izu in that tone, you understand? Or should I bring the amplifier so you can hear me better? Bakugo, hey nerd. Keep your crazy girl in hands and keep her out of things that don't matter to her. It wasn't long before they needed Kirishima and Kaminari to pull Bakugo back, who like a rabid dog wanted to attack the purple-haired girl and the green-haired boy, while the green-haired boy himself needed Tsuyu and Achako's help to hold Kyoka down. None of the three expected that despite being thin, she would be so strong. Once things had calmed down, and thanks to that commotion, the class was able to gather to receive an explanation of the new materials. With the explanation the boy gave, everyone was smiling except for Bakugo, of course, who just grumbled and looked away, meeting Kyoka's murderous glare, who still harbored resentment towards him. But she was going to make him pay in the next team battle. Now the best thing they could do was continue practicing and for everyone to prepare their own equipment. The days passed and the day had finally arrived. Class B was getting ready because they were the ones who would go out first as determined by lottery. Their clothing was simple, but it did not lack a certain appeal as it consisted of black, with Monoma and Kendo being the main representatives of the class, one wearing a dark leather jacket and the other a coat of the same color. Some even wore t-shirts of the band they would be representing, and others, well. Kendo, okay, is everyone ready? Hey, why are you wearing those shirts? Setsuna, what's wrong with them? Kendo, we have to represent the gang or wear black. Why do they wear that? Shishida, they were featured in the Transformers finale. I don't know what's wrong with a shirt with their logo on it. Kendo, just zip up your coats or whatever you're wearing, okay? Sai. Monoma, what's wrong, Madam President? We've already won this. Kendo, Monoma, today I have no place for your mockery of our classmates, do you understand? Monoma, why today will be a stratospheric victory over them, believe me. Kendo looked at Monoma, who had a huge grin on his face and wished he never had to see that grin. Kendo, what did you do now? Monoma, me, do something, you're offending me, you know. Kendo was going to continue reprimanding Monoma until he got the truth out of him, but a warning over the megaphones from Present Mike made them stop and go to the stage. As Class A arrived at the back of the building, the students wore their personalized outfits, being the most attractive or most thematic. Kyoka, who wore a black corset under a damaged black jacket, a spiked collar, and matching gloves. Bakugo, who arguably looked the most damned, was wearing a biker jacket with spikes on the shoulders, gloves, and chains, making him look more like a criminal. And Midoriya, who underwent the most significant change, wore, like his girlfriend and childhood friend, a black jacket with holes, jeans of the same color, and a chain that Bakugo reluctantly lent him. Mina helped him with his makeup, giving him a face resembling a black and white skull. Kyoka, okay, everyone's ready. The girl stopped when she saw her green-haired boyfriend's appearance. She analyzed him from head to toe, noticing that he even had to wear a black version of his red sneakers. She was stunned by his appearance when for a moment she saw Mina, who was holding back laughter. Kyoka, what did you do to Izuoka? Mina, she asked me to help her with her makeup. It looks nice, right? She looked at the boy, who, despite looking somewhat strange with the makeup, still had that puppy dog face. Kyoka, yes, but like I said, I don't want them chasing after him like he's a piece of meat and you. He said, addressing the boy. Kyoka, if you needed help you could have asked me, I'm your girlfriend, come on. The girl used a damp towel and began to clean what she considered to be some excess. She used the damp towel to clean the boy. He felt the purple-haired girl's soft hands travel from his chin to his cheeks, followed by his nose and finally his forehead. The girl wouldn't admit it, but she liked having to help the boy. It was in a moment of slight distraction that she saw the same pink-skinned girl smiling and giving her friend a thumbs up. Kyoka, damn Ashido, this was your plan, wasn't it? Mina, what do you eat that makes you so good at guessing? The girl just pouted, which the green-haired boy in front of her noticed. Midoriya, is something wrong, Kyochin? Kyoka, no, it's nothing. The boy simply let the girl continue helping him, for there was a relief in feeling her hand, which he couldn't help but take and rest next to his face. Kyoka, Izuku. Midoriya, how do you manage to be so gentle? This resulted in him lightly tapping his forehead with one of the girl's fingers, causing him to back away slightly in pain and watch the embarrassed girl looking away. Kyoka, don't say those things, not in front of everyone. The boy just laughed. She might always seem cold and a little grumpy on the outside, but she was always a bundle of nerves when he was being romantic with her. Bakugo, PFF those idiots. Kyoka, sighs, do you want us to finish what we started earlier? Bakugo, I'm talking about the idiots in Class B. Midoriya felt like every time Bakugo called his rocker girl an idiot, he wanted to punch him, but he knew that would only bring them trouble. So much so that she couldn't help but show a furrowed brow, which, along with the rest of the makeup under her eyes, gave her a more tough look. Kyoka herself noticed this and could only feel like her damned heart wanted to jump out of her chest. She shook her head, dismissing any thoughts her love-struck mind had about the boy with a rougher edge, and extended one of her connectors to the green-haired boy's cheek, giving him a few light taps to get his attention. Kyoka, don't worry, she'll pay for it at training. The boy just stared at her for a few seconds before laughter overtook them both. Finally, Class B finished their presentation and retreated to the back of the stage, noticing Class A and their clothes. Monoma, ha. This was supposed to be a music competition, not a competition of who would wear the most trampling clothes, ha. The boy had to shut up when the mom from Class B punched him and knocked him to the floor. Kendo, I'm sorry about that again. Some still had doubts about their outfits, mostly because of Monoma's teasing. Kyoka, are you sure about this? Midoriya saw his friends, who once proud of their personalized outfits, now hesitated to go on stage. The boy frowned, and this told Kyoka something. You're going to do your best. The boy coughed a little, drawing the attention of his friends. Midoriya, what's wrong? We're Class A, we've fought villains head-on, and we've always won. We won't let some small concert mockery make us back down, will we? Some recalled the attack on the USJ or the attack on the camp, remembering how overwhelmingly they defeated it, comparing it to what they were about to do. Midoriya, I want to go out there and prove that a concert is nothing compared to everything else. What do you say? Bakugo, son of a bitch, makeup gives you powers and makes you look less nerdy nerd. Momo, I support Midoriya, we have to go and show what we can do. Kirishima, did you just make all that up? Or did you already have it written down? The first to come out was Kyoka, who went to the microphone, followed by Midoriya and Bakugo, who went to the guitar and the drums. Behind these three, the other members of the class followed their friends. It goes without saying that the other students were surprised by their appearance, as their clothes were clearly cheap. Some noticed this, but with the motivation the green-haired boy had instilled in them, they ignored it and went to their posts. Monoma, Kendo, record this. I want to see the humiliation when we get back to the building. Kendo, I'm going to record it, but I'm sure there won't be any humiliation. Monoma, ha, I love how innocent you can be. And as in the sports festival, the Muslim unleashed a huge explosion, releasing a cloud of smoke. And from this Aoyama, along with Hagakure, began to refract the light, resembling living disco spheres. As the smoke cleared, the clothes they were wearing made more sense. The clothing formerly damaged jackets revealed that underneath they wore clothes that now had a Victorian look, which along with the dust and something burnt had an old-fashioned appearance, and one might even say as if they had risen from the grave. More than one person was surprised initially. They didn't think that combination was the best, but now they were sure of it, especially when Bakugo started playing the drums and Midoriya started singing. Uraraka used her quirk on Aoyama and Hagakure, making them float and move around the stage, dazzling the singers. More than one person in the large crowd sang along with the young people, cheering for the purple-haired girl or the ash-blonde one who had already seen them perform. But the green-haired boy was not far behind, receiving cheers for his voice. As the event drew to a close, many were asking for another song, but the maestro, the mastermind behind it all, had to interrupt them. Present mic, okay, calm down everyone, I'd like to hear more too, but we have to announce the winners. Who am I kidding? Class A wins. The class named Jump for Joy had now defeated Class B. Unlike the time they beat them with their play, you could see Monoma's face, which looked like it was about to explode with rage. Kendo, haha, I think the best humiliation was your face, Monoma. Monoma what? The professor was bought off. After their grand festival and having tried to burn Monoma alive as if she were a witch, Class A returned to the dormitories to celebrate their victory. Kaminari, that was incredible. Kirishima, I never doubted that we could excel further. Shoto Bakugo, why aren't you celebrating? Said the stoic boy. Bakugo, I wanted to celebrate by burning that blachdhard idiot. Lita, Bakugo, calm down, the class representative said, moving his arms in a characteristic robotic manner. Kyoka, today was a great day, you were right. Midoriya, I'm glad everything turned out all right. Kyoka, what do you say if we change and go celebrate outside, just you and me? The flirtatious girl said, approaching the boy and bringing some of her fingers from her chest to his cheek. Midoriya smiled and gave the girl a smile back. Midoriya, I would love that, he said, placing his hands on the girl's slender waist. Visiting mom. The green-haired boy left UA, accompanied by Kyoka, and they were heading to the train station. Midoriya, where does my rock star want us to go? Kyoka, well, I was having an idea. You've already met my parents, so I want to go and meet your mom. Midoriya, are you sure? Kyoka, of course, I'm curious where you got that pretty face of yours, she said, tilting her head as if playing with the boy. Midoriya, which ones? The boy said, taking out his phone and looking at himself on the screen. Kyoka pfffff hahaha, you know exactly which face I mean. Midoriya, okay, whatever my lovely girlfriend says, the boy said, ending his joke. The girl had a tiny problem, and that was that she still wasn't used to hearing the cute nicknames that the green-haired boy called her in public. Kyoka, lower your voice. Midoriya, why? I want everyone to know that I love my beautiful girlfriend. Saddened and fiddling with her connectors, the girl just looked away, feigning annoyance. Kyoka, you're a fool, aren't you? Midoriya, yeah, but I'm your fool. The purple-haired girl just giggled a little, before leaning against the boy's chest and on tiptoe, giving him a tender kiss on the cheek. Kyoka, you're right. The train arrived soon after, and the young people headed to the city of Musutafu, home of the green-haired boy and the purple-haired girl. Minutes passed as they arrived in the city and decided to take a short walk before reaching the Midoriya residence. They went to a park and bought a couple of ice creams as well as a cake as a gift for the green-haired boy's mother. Midoriya, I forgot how good the ice cream at this place tasted. Kyoka, I'm surprised I've never seen you around here before. I used to come to this park when I was a child. If I had known, I would have met you years ago. Midoriya, do you think that would have changed anything about our current selves? Kyoka, maybe, but still, I like it the way it is now, the girl said, holding the arm of the boy beside her while eating her ice cream, visibly calm. Midoriya, me too, replied the boy, lowering his head slightly and kissing the purple-haired girl on the forehead. Both young men headed to the boy's residence, an apartment building where the activity inside could be seen from the outside. Kyoka, so this is it, Izu. The girl turned her head only to see the green-haired boy muttering at 1,000 words per minute. She moved closer just to try to understand everything he was saying. Midoriya, what will mom say? She'll probably cry her eyes out. I inherited that from her. She'll be happy, that's for sure. She always worried about me being understood by someone other than herself. Besides, I hope she doesn't interrogate Kyoka-chan about everything. She also tends to extract information from people without realizing she's invading their personal space. I just pray she doesn't show her the photo album. It'll take years for this embarrassment to go away and… Kyoka, okay, I want to see that album. The green-haired boy jumped when a soft touch on his cheek made him react. Midoriya, W what? Oh, I'm sorry Kyoka-chan, I was just… Kyoka muttering again. She said with a mocking smile, don't worry. If your mom has any questions, I can answer whatever I want, just relax. Midoriya, okay. Kyoka, come on, I want to give you this ice cream cake before it melts, she said, showing the box of ice cream dessert, decorated with a small tablecloth and a purple bow. The green-haired boy went upstairs to his mother's apartment, only to knock lightly and hear a voice from inside speaking. Inko, I'm coming. It only took a few seconds when a somewhat chubby woman, a little shorter than the green-haired man and with the same hair, appeared in the doorway. Inko, Izuku-kun, Midoriya, hi mommy. The woman quickly embraced the boy, who, despite his remarkable strength and abundance of muscles, allowed his mother to squeeze him until he was almost breathless. Kyoka, for her part, was just trying to hold back her laughter at the way the boy referred to his mother. Kyoka, it's funny how he says mommy, how cute. The woman took a while to leave her little one to look at the purple-haired woman by her side. Inko, oh, excuse me, I tend to forget my surroundings when I see my boy. Tell me, what's your name, darling? Kyoka, hello Mrs. Midoriya, I'm Kyoka Jirou and I'm… All along the way the girl was calm, relaxed, even excited to meet her green-haired boyfriend's mother, but now that she was in front of her, a nervousness stopped her. Inko, are you okay, honey? Kyoka, yes, as I was saying, I'm the one who brought you this ice cream cake. For you, please accept it. The girl managed an awkward smile, mostly just to say something, anything at all, without looking clumsy in the process. Inko, really? Thank you, darling, and don't worry, you can call me Inko. Come in, I just made dinner, and this ice cream cake will be a nice dessert. Midoriya, awesome. The green-haired boy saw his mother enter the house, but as she walked a little way away, he turned and looked at his girlfriend, who was trying to breathe. Midoriya, Kyoka-chan, are you okay? What happened? Kyoka, I don't know, I was going to tell him about us, but well, the words just wouldn't come out, forgive me. Midoriya, don't worry, it's okay. If you want, we can tell her later. Kyoka, be good. The young couple entered the house, leaving their shoes at the entrance next to the door. The first thing that caught the purple-haired girl's eye was a photograph of Izuku and his mother, where the two were younger, with the green-haired boy wearing an Almight costume while his mother, who looked thinner, carried him in her arms with a smile. Kyoka, hee, a geek since such a young age, she said jokingly, pointing one of her jacks at the photograph. Midoriya, please don't make fun of me, he said sadly, scratching the back of his neck. The girl simply approached the green-haired boy and rested her head on his shoulder. Kyoka, how cute. This action caused a somewhat silly smile to appear on Izuku's face. who could only feel one of the girl's jacks floating next to him. They started walking again and the girl was able to get a closer look at her house. For an apartment, it was quite large and very clean, which gave it a shine. Kyoka, nice place. Midoriya, thank you. They followed the matriarch Midori into the kitchen where she was cooking. Inko, I don't know how lucky you are, I was preparing katsudon. Midoriya, really? The green-haired boy asked excitedly. Inko, he loves katsudon, he always asked for it when he was little and he'd get upset when I told him that wasn't what we were going to eat. Midoriya, Mom, it only happened once. Inko, and you didn't want to leave your room until I called Almight to come down for dinner. Kyoka, wait, should I call Almight? The girl asked, intrigued, wanting to hear that funny anecdote. Inko, oh yes, you see. 10 years ago. Inko, Izuku-kun, come and have dinner. Midoriya, no. Inko, come on, it's broccoli, it's delicious. Midoriya, no, because if I ate broccoli it would be cannibalism. Inko, cannibalism. The woman thought with amusement, well, you forced me to do this. The boy was curious about what would happen, so he pressed his ear to the door and listened as his mother pressed the buttons on what he recognized as the house phone. Midoriya, will he call Dad? I'm not going to eat anyway. Inko, hello, yes, Almight, guess what? Do you remember my little Izuku? He says he doesn't want dinner, isn't he feeling very unwell? Midoriya, is Almight talking to my mom? Is he telling her I don't want to eat? What? Not even 10 seconds had passed when a small figure in green shot out of her room and went straight to her mother, hopping about and threatening to burst into tears. Midoriya, that's not true, Almight. What my mom tells you isn't true, I'm going to eat now. Inko, oh, are you going to eat now? The boy quickly nodded, confirming his mother's question. Inko, ah, Almight, he's about to eat, everything's fine. He sends his regards, the woman said to her little one. The woman hung up the phone, only to see her little boy quickly eat the broccoli off his plate. No. The purple-haired girl was hyperventilating at that anecdote about poor young Izuku Midoriya, scared that Almight would scold him for not eating his vegetables. Inko, from that day on I always wondered if he was going to make broccoli, always afraid that he wouldn't call me again. Midoriya, Mommy, that's cruel, said a blushing Izuku as that anecdote resurfaced. The woman watched with amusement as the purple-haired girl tried to catch her breath, while the green-haired boy was as red as his shoes. Inko, and tell me how's school going? Midoriya, well, Kyoka put on a concert for the school and we came out victorious. Inko, oh, I didn't know you two were so close, the woman said, noticing that her Izuku called the purple-haired girl by her name. The purple-haired girl took a breath. It was time to lay her cards on the table and say it once and for all. Kyoka, well, it was something I wanted to tell him, inhales Izuku and I. The woman listened without interruption, curious to see what the girl would say as she brought a cup of tea to her mouth. Kyoka, we're dating. The reactions were varied. Kyoka hid her flushed face with her hands and her jacks floated aimlessly. Midoriya was trembling, the girl's sharp response had made his heart race and his face was burning. And Inko, she was crying her eyes out while a smile was barely forming. Inko, my baby has a cute girlfriend. Midoriya, Mom, calm down, the neighbors will get angry if there are any more leaks. Kyoka, I can't believe I said it. After 10 minutes, the green-haired woman had managed to calm down, while her son placed a damp mop in a bucket. She was eating a piece of ice cream cake, wiping away the few tears that had escaped her eyes, while the green-haired man and the purple-haired woman were still shaken. Inko, sobs, I'm so happy for you all, but why did you only tell me now? Kyoka, the truth is. Midoriya, she was a little nervous, the boy said, finishing the girl's words. Kyoka, exactly that, the girl said, scratching the back of her neck. Inko, well, I'm happy for you both. The woman saw that the two of them were still upset, so she decided to do something fun for at least her and one of them. Inko, tell me, Kyoka, would you like to see the most embarrassing pictures of Izuku when he was a baby? The girl's face, previously flushed, softened slightly. The thought of seeing baby Izuku's pictures brought a smile to her face, for she would have reasons to tease the boy. Kyoka, of course, but a certain green-haired boy just wanted to beg the creator to swallow him up right then and there. The woman quickly pulled out a photo album from under the table. The girl then sat down next to her and looked at the first photos of the green-haired boy. Inko, this photograph was taken when I was 4 years old. It was during kindergarten. Oh, I had to act in a children's play and I didn't get any role, so they gave me the part of the princess. Kyoka, no. The purple-haired girl said with a smile, imagining what the poor boy had to do. Inko, I had to let her hair grow out and put false eyelashes on her for her performance. Midoriya, Kaken bothered me about that for 3 weeks, the green-haired boy muttered, remembering those old times. Kyoka, PFFF. Inko, his aunt Mitsuki told me that Katsuki kept looking at Izuku throughout the play. Kyoka, Katsuki Bakugo. Inko, yes, look, here they are both. The woman flipped through a few pages until she revealed the photograph, leaving the red-faced girl barely able to contain her laughter. The photograph showed Katsuki Bakugo in a reddish night suit, clearly squeezing the boy, who had an annoyed expression but holding Izuku's hand. Izuku was smiling, and even she had to admit he looked adorable smiling at the camera. Kyoka, I definitely must photograph this. The girl didn't hesitate any longer, and taking her phone captured the moment on paper. Kyoka, this one's a keepsake, she said with a huge grin. Midoriya ehhhh. Inko, here's another one using an Almight jumpsuit. In the photograph, little Izuku pretended to pose just like the former symbol of peace while sporting a smile of excitement. Inko, I loved that outfit, I cried a lot when it no longer fit her. Kyoka, oh yeah. Midoriya, crying don't remind me anymore, he said, burying his head in a hero-themed pillow. The girl, with a touch of humor, gently patted the boy on the back. But his mind was playing tricks on him. And it was formed moments after those little claps. Kyoka, what would Izu look like in the suit? I knew he was an All Might fanboy, and I didn't think the kid wouldn't have a custom-made suit. And his mind, playing with his imagination, put the boy in the situation of putting on the hero's tight-fitting jumpsuit, changing it for a tighter version of his hero costume. Imagination. Midoriya, this suit is freaking tight. I like it, but I didn't think it would be this tight. The girl could only feel a little warmth at the thought of him removing his suit, revealing his torso. Midoriya, Kyoka, the boy said as he shook the girl's shoulder. Kyoka, huh, yes. Midoriya, you're spaced out, we have to go or we'll be late to the dorms. Kyoka, oh that's right. Both young men were about to leave. There was no rush for tomorrow since winning the present mic battle of the bands had given them 3 days off. But they wanted to get to their dorms or they would sleep outside, but some words from the green-haired woman stopped them. Inko, they could stay here overnight if they don't have any problems. They both had their doubts since looking at the embarrassing photos of little Izuku had taken up most of the afternoon, turning into night. Kyoka lived a few blocks away, but given the time, her parents were surely already asleep. And Izuku was embarrassed that the girl was not only staying overnight at his house but in his room. Midoriya, WLW, what do you say? Kyoka, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, should I stay here overnight? I'd usually let it go, but Izuku's mom has been so kind. Of course. Inko, perfect. The green-haired boy grabbed some sheets and headed to the sofa. He was going to let the purple-haired girl use his bed. Midoriya, I just hope he doesn't get scared by so many All Might figures. Kyoka, for her part, opened the door that had the owner's name Izuku on it, turned on the light, and what she saw everywhere she looked was All Might merchandise. Kyoka, wow geek. She walked on, feeling All Might's eyes following her, giving her a chill. Kyoka, this isn't so strange, Kyoka. You have guitars hanging around your room, it's practically the same thing. She sat on the green-haired boy's bed and lay back to look at the ceiling. Kyoka, I'm really in his room. First night together. The girl was staring at the ceiling, wondering, how did I manage to do all this? She would usually skip sleepovers, didn't go to sleepovers when she was younger, and only recently agreed to go to Momo's, but now. She was in a boy's room, and not just any boy, but her boyfriend. The girl was about to settle into the large bed when some knocks made her go to the door. When she opened it, she found that freckled boy with green hair. Midoriya, sorry Kyoka, I came to get some of my clothes. Kyoka, oh sure, come in. The girl moved and let the green-haired boy enter her room. He went in and quickly headed to his closet. Kyoka, for her part, returned to that bed, but her gaze darted back and forth from one figure to another. Kyoka, how much money have you invested in this room? Midoriya, who was getting nervous that the girl was in that room, looked at her, only to then take a walk around his room. Midoriya, to be honest, I'd never thought about it. Kyoka, hess, I'd bet Momo could figure out how much this room would be worth. Midoriya, heh, sure. The girl was looking at everything when a notebook on the table made her stand up and browse through it. Midoriya, well, I'm off, see you tomorrow. The boy looked at the purple-haired girl who was now on her bed reading a burned notebook. Kyoka, hexy, she said while reading the page dedicated to MT Lady, I knew you were a pervert. This was said more as a taunt, trying to embarrass the curly-haired boy. Midoriya was clearly nervous because the girl had taken his notebook, and not only that, but she had seen the MT Lady page, which if he didn't explain quickly, she could easily misunderstand. Kyoka, well, Izuku, anything to say in your defense? Midoriya, guilty of everything, there's an explanation. Kyoka, what? The girl said, changing her tone to a death glare at the freckled boy's shameless response. Midoriya, and no, let me explain, shit, I made a mistake. The boy stood next to the girl, while explaining his entire analysis of the heroine being threatened by the connectors that floated and swayed like snakes about to attack. Kyoka, so you wrote Hexy because? Midoriya, because she gets attention by using her body. Don't you remember during the sports festival when she was flirting with vendors to get free food? Kyoka, oh yes, I remember seeing her do that at some food stalls, poor guys. Midoriya sighs, I'm glad you understood. The boy opened his eyes only to see that the purple-haired girl was still staring at him, somewhat annoyed, not as much as before but still present. Midoriya, you're still mad at me, aren't you? Kyoka, a little bit, yes, she said, looking away, trying to keep her face from turning. Midoriya, so what can I do to make you stop being mad at me? Kyoka, you know that's. The girl opened her arms and looking away, asked. Kyoka hugged the girl, said, while trying to control her jacks that were moving all over the place, while hiding her blushing face, looking away. Midoriya, heh. The green-haired boy accepted that condition and approached the girl, opening his arms and wrapping her close to him. When she felt it, she squeezed him, finding it similar to a koala because of how tightly she clung to him. Midoriya, are my hugs really any good? Kyoka kai. Midoriya, hey, I need to take a shower and we have to go back to UA tomorrow. Kyoka, no. Midoriya, come on, I need to take a shower. Kyoka, then I'll come in with you. Midoriya was stunned, as he hadn't expected the girl to give him such an answer, but seeing how crazy her connectors had become, she hadn't thought about her response either. Midoriya, W what? Kyoka, as red-faced as the boy at that moment, pushed the freckled boy straight into her bathroom. Kyoka, okay, take a shower, but don't leave yet, you still owe me at least 10 more minutes of hugs, the girl said, as she closed the door and scolded him from the other side, hoping the green-haired boy hadn't noticed her embarrassment. Midoriya, what? Kyoka, I already said it, so hurry up. The girl lightly patted her face, trying to calm herself down a bit. Kyoka, come on, what's wrong with me? The girl heard the sound of the shower turning on and decided to drop the subject and try to think of something else. Kyoka, I'd better go ask Mrs. Inko for a towel, a bath should calm me down a bit. The girl was getting ready when she saw the notebook from before lying on the floor. Upon picking it up, she could see on the back of the notebook a drawing different from the others. It was more detailed. Upon opening it fully, he could see that it was. Kyoka eyes at me. The drawings were amazing because they seemed like living images of herself. Some even looked like they had been made at UA, because in some he wore the school uniform, in others he smiled, and some even had color in their design. Kyoka, Midoriya, did he do all this? She was definitely going to blackmail him with more hugs and kisses using those drawings, but she wouldn't stop him. She didn't want to lie, seeing how in love the boy was with her made her smile, my idiot. The girl looked at the drawings for a while longer, surprised by the drastic change in quality between her drawings of heroic annotations and the quality with which she portrayed herself. This was the case until I heard the bathroom door open. Midoriya, okay Kyoka, you can use the bathroom now. The boy was drying his hair when, upon opening his eyes, the first thing he noticed was the girl looking at the last pages of her hero notebook. Midoriya, Kyoka, Kyoka, I didn't know you were a stalker too. Stalker, the girl said, sticking her tongue out mockingly at the boy as she showed him one of her drawings which she considered her favorite. Midoriya, can I? Kyoka, do you think you can explain it? Midoriya, you're right, I can't. Kyoka, okay, it doesn't bother me. Midoriya, really? Kyoka, really? Midoriya sighs. Kyoka, but it'll cost you 10 more minutes of hugs on top of the ones you already owe me. Midoriya. Kyoka, hey, my image is expensive, man, I'm not gaining anything, she said, playing with the broccoli. Midoriya, hey, sighs, so if I have no other choice. Kyoka, you're right, you have no choice. Midoriya, okay. Kyoka, now give me a towel, I want to take a shower too. Midoriya, oh yes, of course. Once inside the bathroom, the girl began to remove what she was wearing. Knock knock. Midoriya, Kyoka-chan, there's a bin outside where you can leave your clothes. We can wash them so you'll have them clean. Kyoka, thank you, Green. She stepped into the shower and let the water run through her hair. She was calm when a series of thoughts entered her mind. Kyoka, this has been a great day. I already met Izuku's mom. I got to see pictures of baby broccoli. Now I'm going to sleep in his bed. Not in that way exactly. But I'm literally going to sleep in his bed and he's going to sleep in the living room. It's not really necessary. I could sleep on the other side and we could sleep together. The girl's thoughts stopped when the door slammed shut. Midoriya, Kyoka, I also left you a pair of pajamas. They're mine actually, I don't know if they'll fit you. Kyoka's okay. The girl finally finished her shower and took the pajamas that the green-haired boy had left for her. As she stepped outside, there was the green-haired boy looking at his computer. Kyoka, well. The green-haired boy didn't know what it was, whether it was how much he loved the purple-haired girl or the fact that she was wearing his favorite pajamas. Kyoka, I feel like I look like a clown. Midoriya, not at all. Kyoka, you're saying that because it's your pajamas, right? Midoriya, no, I say it because I love you. The purple-haired girl's heart was pounding like crazy, and she didn't need to get close to the green-haired boy's chest to hear it, which caused the punk rocker to turn a reddish color. Kyoka, well played, but that won't save you from your debt. Midoriya, I know that. Do you want to watch a movie? Kyoka, do you have popcorn, Midoriya, and soda? Kyoka stood on her tiptoes and took the green-haired boy's cheek to give him a kiss on the lips that lasted a few seconds. Kyoka, that's why and more I love you, idiot. Soon the green-haired boy was lying on his bed while the purple-haired girl was lying on the boy's chest and eating from a bowl of popcorn, enjoying her movie. Midoriya, so you saw this at a sleepover with Ashidasan. Kyoka, yep, I thought it would be boring. Midoriya, it's actually a good movie. Kyoka, I never thought Mina would like seeing a weird version of her cousins. Midoriya, hess, good one. Kyoka, what can I say, I won you over with my charisma. The boy just laughed at that truth and they finished watching the movie. Tidying everything up, the boy was about to leave when the purple-haired girl's hand holding his wrist stopped him. Kyoka, hey, can you stay for a while? Midoriya, what's wrong? Kyoka, it's just I can't sleep on a pillow I don't know well. Midoriya, Kyoka-chan, my mom's going to go crazy if I sleep with you. Kyoka, come on, green, just for a little while until I fall asleep. The boy was about to argue when he saw the purple-haired girl's eyes, pleading with him to stay a little longer with her, and he cursed how beautiful she was for having convinced him. Midoriya, just for a little while. Happy and with victorious smiles, the green-haired boy and the purple-haired girl sank into the boy's bed. The rocker girl quickly clung to the chest of the broccoli-haired boy, who cradled her gently as if she were the most fragile person in the world. Midoriya, are you okay? A slight movement of the girl's head was enough as an answer. He simply laughed and began to gently stroke her hair, trying to help her achieve her dream. Everything was going well when Kyoka began to whisper a tune, a lullaby specifically, which captivated the green-haired boy, planting the seed of sleep in him as well. He began to nod off slowly, and in a glance he looked at the purple-haired girl who was watching him with a slight smile, having fallen for his plan. Midoriya, yon cheater. Kyoka, good night, green boy, said the girl, approaching the green-haired boy's face and giving him a good night kiss on the lips. Midoriya had no choice left. He was going to sleep cuddled up with Kyoka, and honestly, even if he had another option, he would choose the same one 1,000 times over. He simply adjusted himself to be closer to her and give her a kiss in return, and finally put his arm around her to sleep together like the happy couple they were. Midoriya, see you tomorrow, Kyoka. Epilogue. A green-haired boy and a purple-haired girl were sleeping peacefully. They had enjoyed each other's warmth for a long time and no longer found comfort in sleeping separately. They lay peacefully in a bed, unaware that a tiny figure barely reaching the height of the bed was slowly approaching, accompanied by another figure slightly shorter than this one. This figure silently climbed onto the mattress and positioned itself. Ready? Hey, Kai, he said, confirming with his thumb. The figure was about to lunge at the adults when Kyoka, Kyozu, Midoriya, if you do that, yawn, forget about the pancakes. The small figure, now revealed as Kyozu Midoriya, eldest daughter of former hero Deku and heroine Heartphone Jack, was about to give her parents a strange good morning. Kyozu, hello mommy, hello daddy, the little girl said as she crawled across the bed to where they were lying, pretending not to play her little prank. Midoriya, yawn, hello princess. Kyoka, well young lady, will you tell me why you followed your sister? A small green-haired girl hidden at the edge of the bed watched her mother talking to her. Kyoza-chan promised me she'd give me the pancakes daddy made if I helped her, the little girl said sheepishly, revealing their little deal. Kyozu, Inko. Midoriya, oh, do you really like my pancakes? The little green-haired girl's head stared at the floor, saddened by having betrayed her parents with that prank and then betraying her sister, all thanks to a food deal. Midoriya, don't worry, there will be pancakes for everyone. The smiles from the little Midoriya girl soon appeared. Kyoka, ready for work. Midoriya, grown, I worked all night grading exams, I guess, so what about you? Kyoka, sigh, if that idiot Kaminari faints again because a girl asks him for an autograph, I'm leaving him on the floor. Midoriya, I was surprised that Shiozaki agreed to go out with him. Kyoka, me too, I thought it was a joke. Midoriya, Minta cried for a week when he found out Kaminari achieved what he couldn't. Kyoka, it was a good idea to make it into a meme and upload it to the internet. Midoriya, hahasa. The green-haired boy, now standing, headed to the kitchen, while the smell of melted butter and bread emanated from the room. At the table, two little girls could be seen eagerly awaiting the start of their breakfast. Midoriya, the secret to a good pancake is how long you leave it in the pan. If you leave it too long, it can get crispy or burnt. If you take it out too soon, it'll taste half raw, but if you take it out at the perfect moment, it comes out. Inko/Kyozu, perfect. Kyoka, seriously, what lottery did I win to marry you? The girl asked, while watching the little ones enjoying their breakfast and the green-haired boy with a tablecloth that said kiss the cook. Midoriya, the same one I won with you. Having said that, the two, now fond of each other, shared a kiss, short but as always full of love. Inko/Kyozu, Iyua. Kyoka, hey, you guys finish eating, and you know Grandma Inko is coming later. Inko/Kyozu, yes. Minutes passed and the green-haired man, now dressed in a formal suit, and the purple-haired woman in her superhero costume left the apartment, accompanied by the little girls who were wearing school uniforms. The green-haired boy was the last to leave when he looked at a photograph which was his favorite. The day they got married, the day they vowed to each other forever, and the day I consider the greatest until then, before I saw my daughters born and cried oceans of tears. The boy got into his car and drove through the city, dropping his little ones off at elementary school and then taking his heroine to the agency he had created. Kyoka, thank you, Green, I'll see you later, the girl said, giving her green-haired husband a goodbye kiss. Midoriya, see you later, say hi to Kaminari for me. Kaminari, that won't be necessary, buddy, said the blonde guy leaning against the broccoli-headed guy's car door. Hello. Midoriya, Kaminari-kun, hello. Kaminari, what's up, old man, how's life as a teacher treating you? Midoriya, not bad, how's the hero life? Kaminari, not bad, hey, is the music teacher position still available? Midoriya, I think so. Kaminari, great, Kyoka, come on, Chargevolt, we have to work. Kaminari, goodbye friend, it was good to see you. Kyoka, goodbye Hexy boy, she said, taking the green-haired boy's hand and kissing him again. The boy just smiled and headed towards UA. Kaminari, did he already know about your surprise? Kyoka, no, not yet. Kaminari, I bet he'll be surprised when he finds out. Kyoka, I know him well, he'll cry tears of joy when All Might gives him that briefcase. Kaminari, it was a good idea to do that for him after all. Kyoka, he's my hero, he deserves nothing less, he. The girls will jump for joy when they see Dad come home in that suit. Kaminari, the girls. Half of Japan will be doing it when they see him soaring through the sky with all of us. Guys, I don't know if I cut it too early, but honestly I didn't want to drag it out any longer than necessary, so I decided to leave it here. I hope you understand. If you're upset, I apologize, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you want, I can create one-shots outside of the main story. I look forward to your comments, and you know, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.